Chapter 3065. Not the same. Shangguan Yingying was a little confused. Weren't there only so many species of demonic beasts in the entire Shangxian continent? Even in a small world, this situation should not be an exception. Looking at Shangguan Yingying's expression, Bailey Hongzhuang understood what Shangguan Yingying was thinking. She could not help but smile and said, "You will understand when you see it in a while." Beichen, I was wondering why your cultivation speed was so fast. Turns out that there is such a good place to cultivate. Xiren narrowed his eyes and looked at Di Beichen with ridicule. Previously, he had used some secret methods to raise his cultivation to this level in the Cloud Sword sect. He originally thought that he could show off in front of Di Beichen, but he did not expect that Di Beichen had also raised his cultivation to the same level, so he did not have the chance to be proud. Previously, he had always thought that Di Beichen and Bailey Hongzhuang's cultivation speed was too abnormal. Only now did he understand that they had such a heaven-defying divine tool. Cultivating here was equivalent to having 3 times the cultivation time. It couldn't get any better than that. Perhaps they would not discover anything in a short period of time, but after a long period of time the gap would be very shocking. Di Beichen smiled faintly. You have your methods and I naturally have mine. However, now we are running together. Bailey Hongzhuang took out the spirit stones and said, now that everything is calm, let's cultivate first. Although the density of yuan qi here was not as high as in the demon training tower, using the spirit stones to cultivate and the time advantage here, overall it was faster than cultivating in the demon training tower. Hearing this, Xiren nodded. Coincidentally, I have only been able to cultivate these days and have not had the chance to fight. I only feel that my fighting skills have become rusty. Now that there is such a good place, I am really looking forward to it. Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen looked at each other with a faint smile in their eyes. The situation was exactly as they had expected. Not long after, Shangguan Yingying and when Xiren understood what Bailey Hongzhuang meant by different demonic beasts. Heavens, aren't the demonic beasts here too abnormal? This isn't a single demonic beast. It's a group of demonic beasts. How can these fellows be so despicable? Could it be that they only know how to gang up and don't have the courage to fight one-on-one? Another wave. This is going to kill me. Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen, who were originally exhausted, heard the constant complaints of Wen Ziran and Shangguan Yingying, and their hearts were somewhat balanced. In the past, when they were abused here, they felt very helpless. Now there were 2 more guys who were being abused. Especially when they warned Xiren and Shangguan Yingying, they didn't take it seriously. Now they finally understood where the pain came from. After a fierce battle, Shangguan Yingying and Xiren lay on the boat, exhausted. They only felt that their bodies had been hollowed out, and they didn't have the slightest bit of strength. Di Beichen couldn't help but tease Xiren, you haven't fought for a long time. How does it feel to fight again? Xiren gasped for breath. Looking at Di Beichen, who was obviously in a better state than him, he said, you pervert, you still have the strength to fight. The demonic beasts here are simply unreasonable. The number of demonic beasts in this group is too shocking. However, hearing Xiren's words, Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen couldn't help but be shocked. Chapter 3066. They had not been in the oceanic world for a long time. According to their previous situation, their endurance should be about the same as Xiren's. However, judging from the current situation, their endurance was clearly better than when Xiren's and Li Qie's. Now Xiren's had no strength to move, but at least the 2 of them still had the strength to move. In that case, this was where they improved in the oceanic world. When they were in the desert world, the biggest improvement was their strength, but the oceanic world helped to improve their endurance. No matter which point it was, maybe this little improvement was nothing, but once it was used in battle, the effect of this improvement would immediately be reflected. Xiren saw that Di Beichen and Bailey Hongzhuang were stunned after he said one sentence, and could not help but wonder, did I say something I shouldn't have said? Why do you 2 have such expressions? No. Di Beichen shook his head and said, you reminded us of our improvement during this time. We thought that cultivating here would only give us a chance to fight, but now it seems that the biggest improvement is endurance. As soon as these words came out, it was Xiren's turn to be stunned. He then nodded, now that you mention it, it is indeed so. My old man often said that endurance is extremely important for a cultivator. Once the strength of the two cultivators is not much different, then endurance is the key to determining the outcome. It is just that it is not easy to improve endurance, and it is difficult to create such conditions. The situation in this oceanic world is completely possible. In that case, the value of Hongzhuang's small world is even more amazing. With that, Ziran turned his head to Bailey Hongzhuang and said, Hongzhuang, I still have to thank you for giving us a good opportunity to improve, haha. Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled. Then I have to thank you for accompanying Di Beichen to Penglai Island. Ziran was slightly stunned, and the smile in his eyes deepened. He felt that Di Beichen had really found an excellent wife. Just as Bailey Hongzhuang and the others were being tortured by the demon beasts in the oceanic world, Lu Mingxiu finally learned the truth. The lady at the counter was unwilling to tell him the truth about Xiao Yihan's situation, but it didn't mean that he didn't have other ways to find out. Especially after seeing that the healing medicine on the second floor was sold out, he already had a guess in his mind. Xiao Yihan, I didn't expect you to be so down and out right now. You actually have to buy healing medicine from the cultivators on the second floor. The way I see it, the reason why your injuries are getting better is because you used those 10 bottles of medicine together, right? How did it feel? Lu Mingxiu looked at Xiao Yihan mockingly. He originally thought that he had been tricked by Xiao Yihan and was in a bad mood. Now that he knew that he had not fallen into Xiao Yihan's trap, his mood became much better. Looking at Lu Mingxiu's happy expression, Xiao Yihan chuckled. What does it have to do with you how I recovered from my injuries? It's better than someone like you who plays tricks behind my back. Chapter 3067. Listening to Xiao Yihan's merciless mockery and sarcasm, Lu Mingxiu's face darkened even more. His entire face had turned black. The failure last time was truly a great humiliation. Now, every time Xiao Yihan found a reason to mock him, he was unable to refute. He was about to go crazy from anger. You Xiao Yihan have always flaunted your high standards and disdain to use ordinary things. Who would have thought that you would fall to such a state? Lu Mingxiu said coldly. Xiao Yihan smiled faintly and did not care about Lu Mingxiu's mockery. Speaking of which, I still have to thank you. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have found a talent. Xiao Yihan was in a good mood today. He had just received 50 sets of healing medicine, and it was exactly the same as the ones he had bought before. Compared to the trouble of purchasing healing pills and medicines from the alchemist and doctor's area on a daily basis, he could only purchase a few bottles at most each time, and it also depended on whether the other party was interested and had the time to refine them. This cultivator on the second floor was simply too easy to talk to. He did not expect the other party to be so fast. He had only placed the order yesterday, and the other party had already brought all the healing medicine this morning. He liked this efficiency. This saved him a lot of time. He was even more determined to buy healing medicine from the cultivator on the second floor in the future. This way he would not have to accommodate those alchemists and doctors and waste his time. Hearing Xiao Yihan's words, Lu Mingxiu could not help but frown. He did not understand what Xiao Yihan meant at all. However, Xiao Yihan did not intend to explain to Lu Mingxiu. He turned around and left with a smile on his face. He was really grateful to Lu Mingxiu. Otherwise, how could he have found such effective healing medicine? Looking at Xiao Yihan's disappearing figure, Lu Mingxiu frowned. His face was full of displeasure. He felt that Xiao Yihan's words must have some deeper meaning. Could it be that there was something special about the cultivator who sold healing medicine on the second floor? He really did not think that such a lowly person was worth paying attention to. However, Xiao Yihan's confident look made him very confused. Could it be that there was something he did not notice? Thinking of this, Lu Mingxiu felt that he had to figure out what the problem was. Otherwise, Xiao Yihan's attempt to cover up would only make things worse. Help me contact the cultivator selling healing medicine on the second floor. I want to see her. Lu Mingxiu walked to the front of the counter and ordered. The woman at the counter was slightly stunned. She did not understand why Lu Mingxiu was suddenly interested in Bailey Hongzhuang. However, she still said, Young Master Lu, I can help you pass this request to the cultivator on the second floor. However, whether she agrees or not is not something I can control. Lu Mingxiu frowned slightly. If you tell her who I am, does she dare not come to see me? The woman at the counter couldn't help but think of Bailey Hongzhuang's arrogant appearance. She really felt that Bailey Hongzhuang was likely to refuse. After all, when she was discussing the price with Bailey Hongzhuang, she had mentioned Xiao Yihan's name. However, Bailey Hongzhuang did not care at all. In comparison, Xiao Yihan's name was even bigger than Lu Mingxiu's. However, the woman at the counter did not have the courage to say this out loud. Chapter 3068. Just as the woman at the counter was about to head to the second floor, Lu Mingxiu suddenly said, "Wait. Does Mr. Lu have any other orders? You don't need to do this. Continue with your work, but don't tell Xiao Yihan about this." Hearing this, the woman at the counter looked at Lu Mingxiu in confusion, then nodded and said, "Yes." Lu Mingxiu narrowed his eyes. In his opinion, the woman at the counter was obviously biased towards Xiao Yihan. If he relied on her, he might not be able to do this. It was better for him to go personally and find out what Xiao Yihan was up to. When Sweet Dream saw Lu Mingxiu standing in front of her, she couldn't help but reveal a look of surprise. With Lu Mingxiu's status, it was definitely impossible to see him on the second floor. But what was he doing here at this moment? "Mr. Lu." Sweet Dream's face quickly revealed a smile. "I'm here to find out more about the cultivator selling healing medicine. I heard that Xiao Yihan bought healing medicine from him. I'm also very interested in this healing medicine." Sweet Dream understood that the reason why Lu Mingxiu had appeared here was to buy healing medicine. In her heart, she was secretly amazed that Bailey Hongzhuang's healing medicine must be very effective, so it attracted people to come and buy it again. "I see." Sweet Dream smiled slightly. "Mr. Xiao did buy another 50 portions of healing medicine yesterday. How many portions do you want to buy?" Sweet Dream was completely unaware of the grudge between Lu Mingxiu and Xiao Yihan. She only thought that Xiao Yihan felt that the healing medicine was very effective, so he told others. Hearing Sweet Dream's words, Lu Mingxiu's eyes couldn't help but flash with a bright light. He didn't expect Xiao Yihan to actually buy another 50 sets of healing medicine from here. Could it be that the effects of the healing medicine were really that good? Is Xiao Yihan still buying the healing medicine at 5 spirit stones per portion? Lu Mingxiu asked again. He remembered very clearly that when he saw the price before, he thought it was very funny. What good things could there be at such a low price? However, such a low price was nothing to Xiao Yihan. Perhaps Xiao Yihan was just in a good mood after winning the competition, so he gave it to this guy. Sweet Dream shook her head and said, "That's not the case. Each batch of healing medicine is sold for 50 spirit stones each." Hearing this, Lu Mingxiu couldn't help but be taken aback. 50 spirit stones per serving? Is this the price Xiao Yihan offered or what? This is the price set by the cultivator who sold it. 5 spirit stones per serving was the price she set when she first sold it. However, before young Master Xiao bought it for the second time, she had already raised the price to 50 spirit stones per serving. This price is much more expensive than ordinary healing medicine. I feel that the effects should be quite good. Otherwise, young Master Xiao would not have bought it again. If young Master Lu is not clear, why don't you ask young Master Xiao? That way you will have an understanding. Lu Mingxiu waved his hand. No need. Go and inform that cultivator that I want to see him. After receiving this news, Lu Mingxiu suddenly came up with a plan. Chapter 3069. Listening to Lu Mingxiu's words, Sweet Dream couldn't help but say awkwardly, "Young Master Lu, that cultivator said before that if anyone wants to buy healing medicine, just tell me. She will prepare the healing medicine the next day." After interacting with Bailey Hongzhuang during this period of time, she found that Bailey Hongzhuang clearly had no interest in meeting other people. Other than going to the arena area once every 2 days, Bailey Hongzhuang had been cultivating in her room all the time. She had no intention of getting to know anyone at all. Even knowing that Xiao Yihan wanted to buy her healing medicine, Bailey Hongzhuang didn't show any excitement. Lu Mingxiu frowned. Sweet Dream's answer was exactly the same as the woman at the counter before. Was this cultivator so difficult to deal with that even his name didn't work? Go and contact her. Tell her that I want to discuss a big business with her. Let her talk with me face to face. Lu Mingxu wanted to see what kind of person she was. Besides, what he wanted to discuss was indeed a big business. It was just that this big business couldn't be known by others. I'll go and contact her right now, but I can't guarantee the result. Sweet Dream reminded again. Go, I believe she will definitely come. Lu Mingxu was full of confidence. All the cultivators who lived on the second floor were often short of money. Once they heard that there was a big business, they would definitely rush over impatiently. Sweet Dream came to Bailey Hongzhuang's door and knocked on the door, but found that no one answered. After knocking several times, there was no response, which made her puzzled. She clearly didn't see Bailey Hongzhuang leave the second floor today. If she wasn't in the room now, then where could she have gone? Young Master Lu, I just went to look for her. But there doesn't seem to be anyone in the room. Sweet Dream's face showed a touch of helplessness. How about I contact her when she comes back? Can I inform you then? Lu Mingxu's face instantly became ugly. He didn't think of this possibility. You mean she went to the arena area? Should be. Alright, let me know when she's back. It was already the second day when Bailey Hongzhuang and the other three exited the oceanic world. After staying in the oceanic world for 3 days, when Xiren and Shangguan Yingying had a better understanding of the oceanic world. In that case, we can continue to cultivate in the oceanic world in the future. The results of this cultivation are much better than staying in the house and cultivating bitterly, Xiren said slowly. Everything he had experienced in the past 3 days had made him feel very strange, and he increasingly felt that the effects of cultivating in the oceanic world were very good. Cultivating in this sealed magic training tower was really boring. Now there was finally a place where he could breathe. Di Beichen nodded. As long as we have enough spirit stones, we can stay inside and cultivate. However, I have to come out and see if there are still people who want to buy healing medicine. After all, if I can't sell the healing medicine and earn enough spirit stones, then it won't be so good. Bailey Hongzhuang shrugged her shoulders. Spirit stones were too important to them right now. Chapter 30-70. As soon as she opened the door, Bailey Hongzhuang saw a note on the door. Sweet Dream had left a message asking her to go to the counter. Seeing this, Bailey Hongzhuang and the other three couldn't help but look at each other. Maybe they had business again. However, Bailey Hongzhuang had a strange feeling in her heart. She felt that everything was not so simple. Xiao Han had just bought 50 sets of healing medicine, which was enough for him to use for a while. He wouldn't come back to buy it again. Moreover, with Xiao Han's status, he wouldn't be interested in advertising for her. If it were her, she would probably think that it was enough for her to know. There was no need for more people to know. Sweet Dream, are you looking for me? Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang coming out of her residence, Sweet Dream's eyes flashed with surprise. She didn't notice that Bailey Hongzhuang had come back from the arena area today. Could it be that Bailey Hongzhuang had been in the room all this time? Young Master Lu Mingxu from the 15th floor came to look for you today. But I went to your residence to look for you, but there was no response. Sweet Dream said tentatively. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang nodded. I was cultivating in seclusion today, and didn't notice the movements outside. I'm like this when I'm focused on cultivation. You don't have to be surprised. I see. Sweet Dream then understood. Many cultivators didn't like to be disturbed when they were cultivating, so they would use yuan qi to seal their ears so that they couldn't hear the voices of others. Young Master D, if you want to cultivate without being disturbed in the future, you can hang a do not disturb sign in front of the door. Then we won't disturb you. I know. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded lightly. You said Lu Mingxu was looking for me? I don't seem to know him. He came after hearing the news of the healing medicine. I told him that if he needed to buy healing medicine, he could tell me directly. However, he said that he wanted to discuss a big business with you and asked me to contact you to talk to him face to face. Bailey Hongzhuang frowned. She didn't know why, but she sensed a conspiracy in this situation. Sweet Dream, do you know what his relationship with Xiao Han is like? Bailey Hongzhuang asked. Sweet Dream was slightly stunned. Then she shook her head. I only know that young Master Lu knows about you because of young Master Xiao, but I don't know about the relationship between the two of them. Can you do me a favor and find out about the relationship between the two of them? Bailey Hongzhuang took out a few spirit stones and placed them on the counter. Young Master D, this is just a small favor. I'll find out after asking around. You don't have to be so polite. Of course. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly. Then wait for me for a moment. I'll go to the counter on the 15th floor to ask and I'll tell you the result. All right. After Sweet Dream left, Xiaobai couldn't help but ask, Master, don't you plan to meet Lu Mingxu personally? Let's see if he's a friend or a foe before making a decision. Bailey Hongzhuang slowly said. You think that Lu Mingxu is a foe and not a friend? Xiao He quickly asked. If he's only here to buy healing medicine, then no matter how big the business is, he can just tell Sweet Dream the quantity. However, he must talk to me personally. There are some problems with this. Xiao Han bought medicinal pills from me twice, but he didn't ask to see me either. Chapter 3071. Bailey Hongzhuang's ink-black phoenix eyes flickered with wisdom. Although they had not had much contact with other people after coming to Demon Refining Island, she had always understood the twists and turns of people's hearts. Then why does Lu Mingxu want to see you? Xiao He was puzzled. I don't understand. If I'm not wrong, there should be a conflict between Lu Mingxu and Xiao Han. Lu Mingxu wants to find trouble with Xiao Han through me. A third party. Other than that, there shouldn't be any other reasonable explanation. Although it was only a guess, Bailey Hongzhuang was very certain that it was very likely the truth. But Master, we're not considered friends with Xiao Han. Don't you want to know more about this big deal? Xiao He blinked. To them, the most important thing was to earn spirit stones. As for who they earned it from, they shouldn't care. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang shook her head and said, if my cultivation had reached the 5th level of the Purple Realm, then I wouldn't mind finding out what kind of deal this is. The other party comes from the upper echelons and is stronger than me. In addition, he insists on discussing a deal with me. If I don't agree, he will definitely fall out with me. This demon refining tower has never stopped cultivators from fighting. I don't want to put myself in a dangerous situation. She was very interested in spirit stones. It was just that she was not interested in spirit stones that brought trouble. In that case, this Lu Mingxu is very dangerous. After Bailey Hongzhuang's explanation, Xiao He and Xiao Bai also understood. It was better for them to stay away from this kind of guy. Sweet Dream's speed was very fast, and it didn't take long for her to return. When she looked at Bailey Hongzhuang again, her face showed a trace of embarrassment. Seeing this, Bailey Hongzhuang already understood the result. Young Master D. I've just received news that Young Master Lu and Young Master Xiao don't have a good relationship. 2 days ago they had an arena battle, and Young Master Xiao won. And part of the reason why Young Master Xiao won was related to your healing medicine. As for why Young Master Lu came to look for you this time, I'm not sure. Xiao He and Xiao Bai looked at each other. They really admired their master more and more. She had actually guessed all of this. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly and said, I know. I'll have to trouble you to tell that Young Master Lu that I'm not interested in this big business. According to the rules of the Devil Training Tower, you shouldn't have revealed my identity to him, right? Sweet Dream hurriedly waved her hand and said, that won't happen. We keep the identities of all the cultivators who sell things a secret. Unless you voluntarily announce your identity, we definitely won't reveal it. Even Young Master Xiao only knows that you are a cultivator on the 2nd floor, but he has no idea who you are. That's good. Only then did Bailey Hongzhuang feel more at ease. She had no interest in getting involved in the other party's battle. She only wanted to earn some spirit stones in peace. I'll have to trouble you. You might have to help me deal with some trouble. Sweet Dream's pretty face blushed and hurriedly said, no, this is what I should do. Chapter 3072. After Bailey Hongzhuang returned to the room, she looked at Di Beichen and the other two who were quite expectant of her. She spread her hands and said, I'm sorry to disappoint you. He's not here to buy healing medicine. He might be here to cause trouble, so I refused. Hearing this, Di Beichen and the other two looked at each other with some doubts. We haven't offended anyone. Who would come to cause trouble for you? The opponent of Young Master Xiao who bought my healing medicine. Suddenly, Di Beichen and the other two understood. It's better to refuse this kind of thing directly. In our current situation, it's better for us to keep a low profile and cultivate. In half a month, we should be able to break through to the 4th level of the Purple Realm, Xiren said slowly. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded lightly. Before breaking through to the 5th level of the Purple Realm, let's cultivate in peace. I'll think of another way to earn spirit stones. She believed that as long as the effect of her healing medicine was spread, there would be a lot of business soon. However, she valued the improvement of her strength more, so she didn't put all her focus on selling healing medicine. No, we'll do the same as before. Although it will waste some time, it will still be a steady improvement. Shangguan Yingying said. What's the point of thinking so much? Anyway, we still have enough spirit stones. Let's go to the oceanic world first. Bailey Hongzhuang said with a smile. Looking at Bailey Hongzhuang, who didn't care about it, Xiren and Shangguan Yingying felt a little embarrassed. If these spirit stones were only used to maintain Bailey Hongzhuang and Debachen's consumption, it would be able to last for a long time. However, with the addition of the two of them, the time would be shortened by a lot. However, whether it was Bailey Hongzhuang or Debachen, they had never cared about this, which made them even more touched. When Lu Mingxiu found out that Bailey Hongzhuang had refused to see him, he couldn't react for a moment. You said she refused? Lu Mingxiu raised his voice, clearly unable to accept this result. Sweet Dream nodded and said cautiously, she said that she's only interested in selling healing medicines. Apart from that, she has no other skills. If Master Lu needs healing medicines, she'll welcome you with open arms. If it's any other business, I'm afraid she won't be able to help much. Lu Mingxiu's heart quivered when he heard this. The other party's words made him feel as if the other party had seen through him and even guessed his plans. This was not a good feeling. Does she know who I am? Even if we can't reach an agreement, she doesn't even want to see me. Isn't that a little too arrogant? After being rebuffed one after another, Lu Mingxiu couldn't help but get angry. It was one thing for Xiao Han to treat him like this, but the other party was just a cultivator who lived on the 2nd floor and dared to treat him like this. How hateful. Does he even know who I am? How dare he reject me? He's courting death. Sweet Dream was also frightened by Lu Mingxiu's sudden roar. She quickly said, Young Master Lu, I can't do anything about it. Pa! Lu Mingxiu slapped the counter. Since he dares to not give me face, I'll let him know the consequences of offending me. Doesn't he want to earn spirit stones by selling healing medicines? I'll make sure that he can't sell a single portion of his healing medicines. Sweet Dream panicked when she heard this and said, Young Master Lu, I'm afraid this isn't very appropriate, right? Chapter 3073. The next day, a piece of news shocked all the cultivators in the Demon Training Tower. Lu Mingxiu actually went against a cultivator on the 2nd floor and declared that whoever dared to buy the healing medicine from the cultivator on the 2nd floor would be his enemy. This caused the originally unknown Bailey Hongzhuang to suddenly become famous. No one had noticed that there was actually a cultivator selling healing medicine on the 2nd floor. However, there were some cultivators who had noticed this news before. After Lu Mingxiu's declaration, everyone couldn't help but pay attention to it. When they discovered that the healing medicine that Bailey Hongzhuang was selling was actually 50 spirit stones per set, everyone shook their heads and didn't have any good impression of Bailey Hongzhuang. Do you guys think that Lu Mingxiu was cheated by number 18 on the 2nd floor? 50 spirit stones per set. Even if it was a doctor selling healing medicine, it would only be 40 spirit stones. Who knows, this number 18 on the 2nd floor is just an ordinary cultivator. She actually dared to offend Lu Mingxiu. She really has guts. In my opinion, that cultivator should be regretting it now. After Lu Mingxiu's declaration, how can she still sell her healing medicine? That's true. However, to be honest, after such a commotion, I'm really curious about the effects of that healing medicine. I really can't think of a reason why Lu Mingxiu would go against a cultivator on the 2nd floor. Haha, I think so too. It's a pity that Lu Mingxiu has already spread the word. Who dares to buy it and try it? For a moment, the entire Demon Training Tower was discussing about the cultivator on the 2nd floor. However, after such a rumor, everyone realized that there were so many people in the Demon Training Tower, but no one knew who the cultivator on the 2nd floor was. This discovery shocked everyone. As long as it was a cultivator who lived in the demon training tower, as long as they had participated in the arena competition, it wouldn't be that they didn't know who the cultivator was. However, no one knew who this person was. This was really strange. When Lu Mingxiu saw that his declaration had caused such a sensation, he was extremely satisfied in his heart. He wanted to let everyone know what the consequences of offending him, Lu Mingxiu. He wanted to see if Bailey Hongzhuang would regret it now. Just as everyone was talking about Bailey Hongzhuang, the main character of the incident was fighting fiercely with the monsters in the ocean world, completely unaware of what was happening outside. Bailey Hongzhuang and the other three had been cultivating in the oceanic world. They had already adapted to life in the oceanic world. Before the spirit stones were used up, they had no intention of leaving. However, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others were simply too exhausted today. All the energy in their bodies had been completely squeezed dry. They just wanted to have a good rest. Back in the house, the four of them held spirit stones in their hands and absorbed the essence energy. The sea world's monster beasts are too abnormal. I feel that their numbers have been increasing recently. If we hadn't been teleported out, I really don't know if we would have survived. Shangguan Yingying gasped for breath, her face full of emotion. When Xiren smiled faintly. Speaking of which, our luck is pretty good. We were teleported out at the last moment. Haha. Chapter 3074. Speaking of which, Baisher has the fastest breakthrough speed among us. Shangguan Yingying couldn't help but look at Baisher. Ever since she found out that Baisher didn't need to cultivate, and only needed to eat enough demon crystals to increase its cultivation, she felt envious. Others had to pay a high price to cultivate a contract beast with a high cultivation level. In contrast, Bailey Hongzhuang only needed to have enough money to cultivate Baisher. Although this was a huge sum of money, it wasn't difficult for Bailey Hongzhuang to complete all of this with her ability. Moreover, there were so many demon beasts in this small world. Just Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen had obtained a lot of demon crystals from killing demon beasts in the process of training. Now, none of them had broken through to the 4th level of the Purple Realm. Instead, Baisher was the first to break through to the 4th level of the Purple Realm. This cultivation speed was really enviable. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Baisher, who was eating happily, and a smile appeared on her face. Baisher is blessed by nature in terms of cultivation. I'm afraid we can't be envious. Speaking of which, the demon crystals in this oceanic world seem to be very rich in energy, so Baisher's cultivation speed has increased. Di Beichen pondered and said slowly. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. I also noticed this. This oceanic world is really a good place. Otherwise, if we were to stay in the demon training tower, our cultivation would be able to increase, but Baisher would have a hard time. Ever since Lu Mingxiu announced that no one was allowed to buy Bailey Hongzhuang's healing medicine, Sweet Dream couldn't help but feel anxious. She never thought that Lu Mingxiu's approach would be so extreme. Wasn't this completely cutting off Bailey Hongzhuang's source of income? She had always wanted to inform Bailey Hongzhuang, but unfortunately, there was a Do Not Disturb sign hanging in front of Bailey Hongzhuang's door, indicating that she was still in a state of cultivation. This made Sweet Dream even more anxious. She couldn't imagine that Bailey Hongzhuang would be in closed-door cultivation for such a long time. At this moment, Sweet Dream tried her luck and came to take a look, but found that the Do Not Disturb sign had been put away. Her eyes suddenly brightened, and she quickly knocked on the door. Young Master D, you're finally out of seclusion. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the anxious expression on Sweet Dream's face and couldn't help but ask, what happened? Something bad has happened. After you refused to meet young Master Lu, he flew into a rage and directly declared that no one is allowed to buy your healing medicine. Otherwise, you'll become his enemy. Recently, many people have been paying attention to you, and many people have come to me to inquire about you. However, I haven't revealed any information about you, but I'm afraid it will be very difficult for you to sell healing medicines in the future, Sweet Dream said with a frown. In her opinion, Bailey Hongzhuang had finally found a way to make money, but Lu Mingxiu had forcibly blocked it. In the future, her days in the demon training tower would probably be even more difficult. Hearing Sweet Dream's words, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes also revealed a trace of coldness. This Lu Mingxiu was truly arrogant. She just didn't want to wallow in the mire with him. Speaking of which, it could be said that the two of them didn't even know each other, and he actually cut off her source of income. Wasn't this a bit too ruthless? Young Master D, what do you plan to do? Sweet Dream couldn't help but ask. This was a big matter. Chapter 3075. Seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang didn't show any signs of anger, and instead remained calm, Sweet Dream was a little surprised. Could it be that she was mistaken? It's fine, it's only right for me to inform you. After Sweet Dream left, Bailey Hongzhuang's face darkened. If others don't offend me, I won't offend them. This Lu Mingxiu was obviously relying on his strength to despise her to the extreme. He wanted to use this method to make her lower her head? Wasn't this a little too laughable? Di Beichen and the others in the room also heard the conversation between Sweet Dream and Bailey Hongzhuang, and their faces immediately turned ugly. They didn't want to offend anyone. But there was always someone who came looking for trouble. It really made them unhappy. Hongzhuang, the road to selling healing medicine is blocked. Let's continue to the arena area. Shang Guaniying was the first to speak. She was also very unhappy with Lu Mingxiu's actions, but with their current strength they were obviously no match for Lu Mingxiu, so they could only endure for now. That guy is so despicable. If we let him have his way, who knows how arrogant he'll become in the future. Di Beichen's eyes were gloomy and unhappy. If he didn't teach Lu Mingxiu a lesson, he really wouldn't be able to take it lying down. Thinking of his own insufficient strength, the unhappiness in Di Beichen's heart became more and more intense. If his strength could be a little stronger, then there would be no need to let Bailey Hongzhuang suffer such grievances. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled and said, "Actually, this isn't a big deal, there's no need to be so anxious. Lu Mingxiu said that whoever dares to buy my healing medicine will become his enemy, so I won't sell any more healing medicine." Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's words, Di Beichen and the other two revealed a look of surprise. Giving in so easily didn't seem to match Bailey Hongzhuang's personality. "I'll give it to you for free." Bailey Hongzhuang's eyebrows slightly raised, and her charming face was filled with a mischievous and sly smile. She didn't believe that Lu Mingxiu had reached the level of being able to control everything in the demon training tower. Everyone listened to him only because there was no need to offend him, and also because they didn't have any expectations for the healing medicine. However, healing medicine was something that the cultivators of the demon training tower needed the most. If someone was willing to give it to them for free, then 10 people would be tempted. Moreover, originally, everyone had never paid attention to a cultivator on the second floor like her. Now, after Lu Mingxiu's announcement, almost everyone began to pay attention to her. This effect was not something she could achieve by herself. In the end, the person of his own face-offs of the demon training of his words would be slapped, and his S's of demons of S of the tower. Of that, of course, of that threat. Is S of her to of her of them to the dream. Sheet of to do so. This move was brilliant. With their current strength, they were indeed unable to compete with Lu Mingxiu directly, but in terms of intelligence, they weren't lacking in the slightest. They could still afford to lose some healing medicine. Xiao He, Xiao Bai, and Bai Shi all revealed furious expressions. The other party was really going too far. If they could take this opportunity to strike back at Lu Mingxiu, that would be excellent. Chapter 3076. A cultivator had suffered a very serious injury while participating in the arena. The wound was bleeding non-stop, and it was very likely to be life-threatening. At this moment, he took out a bottle of healing medicine from his heaven-earth bag and sprinkled it directly on the wound. Immediately after, everyone was surprised to find that the bleeding on his body stopped very quickly, and the huge wound began to scab continuously. This discovery made everyone's eyes widen. They were all people who often used healing medicine, so they were very clear about the effects of healing medicine. Logically speaking, such an effect would only appear on healing medicinal pills. Ordinary healing medicine would not be able to achieve such an effect at all. However, the healing medicine that this cultivator took out had such an effect. How could this not be surprising? For a moment, Many people began to ask this cultivator where he bought this healing medicine. Compared to the high price of healing medicinal pills, most cultivators still used healing medicine more. If there was a healing medicine that had an effect comparable to healing medicinal pills, it would be great. However, faced with everyone's questions, the cultivator's face revealed an awkward expression. He stuttered and did not say where the healing medicine came from. Coincidentally, Xiaoyihan was passing by the arena area. After seeing this scene, he quickly recognized the white porcelain bottle in the cultivator's hand. It was exactly the same as the healing medicine that Bailey Hongzhuang sold to him. For it to have such an effect, there was no other possibility other than this. He could not help but recall the first time he bought Bailey Hongzhuang's healing medicine. There was a bottle that was taken away by someone else, so he only got 9 bottles. Now, it seemed that this bottle should be the one that was taken away at that time. He also heard Lu Mingxiu's threat. As long as he thought carefully, he could also figure out the problem. However, although he was very interested in Bailey Hongzhuang's healing medicine, he did not need to specially help Bailey Hongzhuang solve this problem. Lu Mingxiu's style of doing things was like this, but he was not. Now that he saw such an opportunity, he didn't mind telling the truth to help Bailey Hongzhuang get out of trouble. Most importantly, this was a good opportunity to deal with Lu Mingxiu. This healing medicine came from the cultivator on the 2nd floor. I also bought my healing medicine from her. It's very effective, Xiaoyihan said slowly. Following Xiaoyihan's words, all the cultivators present were stunned. Their eyes were filled with astonishment. Everyone couldn't help but look at the cultivator in the ring. He didn't refute either, but his expression was a little awkward, but he didn't dare to say anything. Just by looking at his expression, everyone understood. No wonder this cultivator did not dare to reveal the origin of this healing medicine. It must be because he was afraid of offending Lu Mingxiu. However, Xiaoyihan and Lu Mingxiu were sworn enemies to begin with. Naturally, he would not be afraid of Lu Mingxiu, so he directly revealed where he came from. Previously, I couldn't understand why Lu Mingxiu would be at odds with a cultivator who sold healing medicine on the 2nd floor. Now that Xiaoyihan said this, I kind of understand. The conflict between Lu Mingxiu and Xiaoyihan must have affected that cultivator. Didn't you hear Xiaoyihan say that his healing medicine was bought on the 2nd floor? Chapter 3077. Previously, I thought that the price of 50 spirit stones was too expensive. But now that I've seen the effects of this healing medicine, I feel that this price is very normal. It's not expensive at all. Yeah, the effects of this healing medicine are comparable to healing pills, but the price is 30 spirit stones cheaper. It's a lot more worth it. I really didn't expect the effects of this healing medicine to be so good. Even I'm a bit tempted. If I wasn't worried about offending Lu Mingxiu, I would have gone to buy some too. All of a sudden, all of the cultivators started to discuss the healing medicine again. If it was said that everyone was talking about the conflict between Lu Mingxiu and number 18 on the 2nd floor 2 days ago, now everyone had shifted their focus to the effects of the healing medicine. To them, nothing else was important. The effects of the healing medicine were the most important. Such a good healing medicine was enough to move many people's hearts. After Lu Mingxiu's announcement and Xiaoyihan's clarification, no matter what the final result was, number 18 on the 2nd floor, and the healing medicine had completely entered everyone's line of sight. At the very least, there was no one in the Devil Training Tower who didn't know about it. Although there were many people in the Devil Training Tower who were intimidated by Lu Mingxiu's tyranny, there were also many people who were not afraid of Lu Mingxiu. Previously, they did not buy the healing medicine because they did not believe in the effects of this healing medicine. Now that they knew that this healing medicine was so worth it, they naturally did not mind buying a few sets. The same effect but could save 30 spirit stones. No one would complain about having too many spirit stones. This kind of transaction was undoubtedly worth it. Bailey Hongzhuang made a lot of healing medicine. She wanted to use the effects of her own healing medicine to defeat Lu Mingxiu. On this night, not only her, Di Beichen, Wen Ziren, Shangguan Yingying, Xiao He, and Xiao Bai were all helping her make the healing medicine. Although they were not clear about the exact amount and method of making the medicine, there was no problem for them to help grind the ingredients. With their help, Bailey Hongzhuang's speed of making the healing medicine was also very fast. After an entire night, Bailey Hongzhuang had already made a huge amount of healing medicine. In any case, she still had plenty of medicinal ingredients in her primordial chaos ring. She didn't mind throwing out money to slap the other party's face. Hongzhuang, as long as we start selling the healing medicine for free today, as long as someone takes it, Lu Mingxiu will definitely hate us to the extreme, and the conflict will be even greater. Before Bailey Hongzhuang was about to leave, Shangguan Yingying could not help reminding her. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. Anyway, he's in the light while we're in the dark. Even if we completely offend him, he might not be able to recognize us when we stand in front of him. Isn't that good? She really liked the system of the magic training tower. It was very effective in protecting them. Well done. Shangguan Yingying gave him a thumbs up. Let's piss him off. Bailey Hongzhuang opened the door. Just as she was about to step out, she saw that Sweet Dream had already appeared in front of her. Sweet Dream raised her right hand and was obviously about to knock on the door. Bailey Hongzhuang opened the door. Sweet Dream. Bailey Hongzhuang was a little surprised. Did something happen again? Young Master D, I'm here to tell you a piece of good news. Sweet Dream's cheeks were red, and her face was filled with excitement. Chapter 3078. What good news? Bailey Hongzhuang's clear phoenix eyes were filled with doubt. She really couldn't think of any good news in their current situation. Just now, many people came to me to place orders. They want to buy your healing medicine. Sweet Dream's pretty face was filled with joy. Her hands were tightly clasped together. I immediately came to inform you when I heard the news. As soon as she said this, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others looked at each other. They didn't immediately feel excited about this news. Didn't Lu Mingxiu say that anyone who dares to buy the healing medicine will be his enemy? No one has been interested in this healing medicine for the past few days. Why are there suddenly people interested today? Di Beichen's eyes were deep. There must be a reason for this abnormality. If nothing special happened, the situation would definitely not have such a huge change. Today, someone happened to use young Master D's healing medicine in the arena. The effect was so good that it caused a huge sensation. Later, young Master Xiao happened to pass by and directly said that the healing medicine was made by young Master D. After this incident, many people came to order the healing medicine. These people are all stronger than young Master Lu, so there's no need to worry at all. Sweet Dream smiled sweetly. She originally thought that this matter had already forced Bailey Hongzhuang and the others into a desperate situation. She didn't expect that there would be a silver lining. Even she was surprised. After hearing what Sweet Dream said, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others felt that the situation was a little too dramatic. They were just about to have a good fight with Lu Mingxiu. Who would have thought that the situation would be solved by themselves? Should they say that they were lucky or that Lu Mingxiu was unlucky? Originally, they wanted to achieve this effect by selling the healing medicine for free. Now the effects seemed to be much better than they imagined. Sweet Dream saw the stunned expressions of Bailey Hongzhuang and the other three and thought that they were just too surprised because of this matter, and then said, since just now, people have come to place orders one after another. Young Master D, how many healing medicines do you have here? How many do they need? Bailey Hongzhuang asked. Right now, the number of orders has reached 100. I feel that this number may increase in a while because the news today is really too sensational. If you don't have enough healing medicine, I can help to reject them. Sweet Dream felt that Bailey Hongzhuang was only selling the healing medicine because she just happened to have some in stock. After all, if she wasn't a doctor, she couldn't continuously produce healing medicine. She was afraid that this stock would be sold out. 100 portions? Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes lit up. 100 sets of healing pills were equivalent to 3,000 spirit stones. Now they wouldn't have to worry about spirit stones for a while. This was really good news. Sweet Dream nodded. That's right. Isn't that too much? Bailey Hongzhuang waved her hand and said, not much, I just happen to have a lot here. I'll give them all to you. If you need more, you can come find me. As soon as her voice fell, Bailey Hongzhuang directly handed the Chenkuan bag to Sweet Dream. This was made last night. Originally, they wanted to give it away for free. Who would have thought that it would be so easy to sell it now? It was as if they had worked together well. Chapter 3079. Tianming took the Qiankuan bag from Bailey Hongzhuang's hands. After glancing at the number of healing pills in the Qiankuan bag, she couldn't help but exclaim, "So much." Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly. "I think this amount of healing medicine should be enough." Sweet Dream nodded. "Then I'll go sell it now." "Thank you." After Sweet Dream left, Bailey Hongzhuang and the other three couldn't help but look at each other. Then they couldn't help but laugh out loud. "Looks like the heavens are still on our side." Shangguan chuckled. "It's really too funny. We just happened to make so many healing medicine last night, and we just happened to sell it today. Now that we've sold the healing medicine, we've already achieved the effect of slapping the face. I'm sure Lu Mingxiu must be very unhappy right now," Xiren said with a smile. Di Beichen's handsome face also brimmed with a faint smile. "Speaking of which, we really have to thank Lu Mingxiu for helping us make a name for ourselves. Otherwise, the people of the Demon Training Tower wouldn't have paid attention to us at all." "You're really sarcastic." Xiren gave a thumbs up, "But I think so too, haha. Just the 3,000 spirit stones are enough for us to cultivate in the oceanic world for a period of time. Taking advantage of this opportunity, we have to break through to the 4th level of the Purple Realm in one go." Bailey Hongzhuang slowly said. The urgent need for spirit stones had been solved, and they could now raise their cultivation in peace. Lu Mingxiu's mood was very good these 2 days. His words made him understand his position in the Demon Training Tower. There was no one who dared to offend him, and it couldn't be better. The cultivator on the 2nd floor could be considered tactful. If he dared to stand out and provoke him, then he would definitely make his life even more difficult. However, when Lu Mingxiu walked out of his room today, he saw that everyone was looking at him strangely. It was different from the reverence from 2 days ago, and it seemed to contain a bit of ridicule. This discovery made Lu Mingxiu feel very unhappy. Usually, no one dared to look at him with such a gaze. What happened? Lu Mingxiu immediately went to understand the situation. After learning the truth, Lu Mingxiu's face couldn't help turning red. "This damn Shaoan. He's deliberately going against me." Lu Mingxiu smashed the teacup on the ground, his face full of anger. Originally, he thought that it was good that Xiaoyihan didn't come looking for trouble for the past 2 days. He didn't expect Xiaoyihan to do this today. This was a slap to his face. According to the information he had gathered, there were already many people who had gone to buy healing medicine. He felt that his face had never hurt so much since he had come to the Magic Training Tower. Bailey Hongzhuang's healing medicine was quickly sold out. Many cultivators praised the effects of Bailey Hongzhuang's healing medicine after they tried it. The effects were visible. At the very least, the cultivators who bought the healing medicine felt that it was worth it. In the future, they would not need to spend a lot of money to buy healing pills. Now, those who had the guts to buy the healing medicine were all cultivators with high status. Their words were naturally very credible. In a moment, everyone was even more certain that the healing medicine sold in the 18th room on the 2nd floor was extremely effective. Chapter 3080. This situation didn't last for long. After the first cultivator started to buy the medicine, many cultivators also started to place orders. One person naturally didn't have the courage to do this, but when everyone was like this kind of wishful thinking was magnified. They didn't believe that Lu Mingxiu would be able to make a move against all of them by himself. Ever since Sweet Dream started working on the 2nd floor of the Magic Training Tower, she had never been so busy. The counter was surrounded by people, and everyone was busy placing orders. All of the orders were for Bailey Hongzhuang's medicine. Even Sweet Dream couldn't help but be shocked by this situation. Normally, the alchemists and doctors would be the busiest, but compared to the situation in front of her, it wasn't much. With such a large amount, she couldn't help but start to worry about whether Bailey Hongzhuang would be able to make so many medicine. However, Bailey Hongzhuang had already told her that she only needed to take orders and didn't need to worry about the quantity. Just thinking about the spirit stones that these medicines could be exchanged for, Sweet Dream felt that this was a huge sum of money. If Bailey Hongzhuang and the others were said to be poor ghosts before, now the situation had completely changed. No one would be able to associate them with being poor ghosts anymore. In this short period of time, the medicine had become completely popular. Even the upper echelons of the demon training tower were shocked by the popularity of this healing medicine. There were many people doing business in the demon training tower, but for a healing medicine to be able to sell to such a high level was truly shocking. In the end, the higher-ups of the magic training tower decided that as long as Bailey Hongzhuang could continue to sell the medicine, they would reduce the processing fee. This kind of treatment was something that the pharmacists and doctors could enjoy on a daily basis, but this was only possible if the sales reached a certain level. However, it was clear that Bailey Hongzhuang's healing medicine had already surpassed that today. This news was undoubtedly a pleasant surprise for Bailey Hongzhuang. Originally, the magic training tower would take 40% of the processing fee, but now it was reduced to 30%. This reduction didn't seem to be much, but if they really calculated it, they would receive a lot more spirit stones. Not only that, but the higher-ups of the demon training tower also said that if the sales volume continued to rise, the processing fee could be reduced again. Sweet Dream also received a reward for selling the healing medicine. This made Sweet Dream very happy. She had worked in the magic training tower for so long, but she had never received such praise. Compared to the joy of Bailey Hongzhuang and the others, Lu Mingxiu only felt that his face had been slapped swollen. Everyone seemed to have completely forgotten what he had said before, and was completely focused on the healing medicine. He didn't understand. It was just a healing medicine. Was there a need to fight over it like crazy? It was as if he didn't need money. His pride from the past 2 days had completely disappeared. Now, he didn't even dare to leave the house. Everyone was talking about the healing medicine, and naturally he was also involved. He had never been so embarrassed before. Most importantly, given the situation before him, he was already completely naked. This was not something that could be stopped even if he tried. Chapter 3081. Now the more Bailey Hongzhuang blew up, the more Lu Mingxiu lost face. Everyone would think of him when buying healing medicine. As long as Bailey Hongzhuang didn't disappear for a day, his situation of being ridiculed would never change. Just thinking about this made Lu Mingxiu feel like his head was about to explode. What he couldn't understand the most was that Bailey Hongzhuang wasn't a doctor, so where did she get so many healing medicines to sell? In my opinion, there must be a lot of people buying healing medicines these 2 days. Should we postpone our cultivation for 2 days and make more healing medicines? Shangguaninging looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. According to Sweet Dream, the number of orders was constantly rising. They had made a lot of healing medicines last night, but if the number of orders continued to rise, they wouldn't have enough. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. Good. Now is a good time to sell healing medicines. Many people are just here to join in the fun. We might as well take advantage of this opportunity to earn more spirit stones. As for the sales of healing medicines, I don't care. For Bailey Hongzhuang, she only wanted to use the healing medicines to earn the spirit stones they needed for their cultivation. What they needed the most now were spirit stones. Since they had such a good opportunity, they naturally wanted to take advantage of it. Even if they didn't sell the healing medicines in the end, they would still have enough spirit stones. It seems that we'll be busy for the next few days, Di Beichen said with a smile. When Xiren shrugged, the few of us are just helping out. The busiest one is Hongzhuang. Speaking of which, we've been watching in the arena for so many days, but we still can't make as much money as Bailey Hongzhuang casually makes healing medicines. Sure enough, this side business should be developed. When Xiren sighed faintly, the few of them had put all their energy into cultivation, and had never thought of learning a side business. Normally they didn't feel anything. After all, the majority of people in the Shangxian continent chose to do one. However, with Bailey Hongzhuang, who had a similar cultivation level as them but had many different skills, they realized the gap between them. Xiren, don't let your imagination run wild. If you go and learn other skills, I'm afraid you won't be able to handle it. Shangguaninging exposed Wen Xiren without hesitation. When Xiren rolled his eyes. Aren't I just thinking about it? You're not giving me any face at all. Haha. Shangguaninging chuckled. Who here doesn't know about your situation? Do you still need me to expose you? This seems to be the case. At night, when Sweet Dream came to Bailey Hongzhuang, her face showed some fatigue, but her eyes were as bright as the stars, full of excitement. Young Master D, the healing medicine you gave me today has been sold out. Hearing Sweet Dream's words, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. She had given Sweet Dream more than 500 portions of healing medicine. Most people would buy 1 or 2 portions of healing medicine. If they had enough money, they would only buy 5 portions. People like Xiao Han who bought 50 portions in one go were very rare. Moreover, many people didn't even know the effects of this healing medicine. Naturally, they wouldn't buy too many at once. Chapter 3082. There are still a lot of orders, but I've already told everyone that there are no finished products. Sweet Dream said slowly. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. Thank you for your hard work today. Sweet Dream shook her head. This is what I should do. If it wasn't for young Master D's healing medicine, I wouldn't have been praised by the higher-ups. Speaking of which, I have to thank you. In that case, it's a win-win situation for us. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly. Young Master D, there are still a lot of people making orders. Are you still taking orders? Sweet Dream looked at Bailey Hongzhuang tentatively. The popularity of this healing medicine had completely exceeded her expectations. If she could continue to sell it, her commission would be an extremely impressive figure. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. Continue. Just tell me how many you need. Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's reply, Sweet Dream's face immediately revealed a deep smile. That's great. I didn't expect this healing medicine to be so popular. Isn't this situation a bit too strange? Bailey Hongzhuang frowned slightly. She did have a certain level of confidence in the healing medicine she made. It was definitely not inferior to the ordinary healing pills made by those alchemists. However, the effects seemed to be a bit too sensational. It was as if all the cultivators in the demon training tower had come to buy it. This situation was a bit inconceivable. Young Master D, there's something you don't know. Ever since more and more people bought the healing medicine, everyone has been talking about this healing medicine. Many people who weren't interested in this healing medicine have come to buy it in order to not stray from the topic. After all, ever since young Master Lu said that no one could buy it, your healing medicine has entered everyone's sight. In the past few days, everyone has been talking about this healing medicine. Now that so many people are buying it, everyone wants to join in the fun. That's why this situation has happened. However, I reckon that after this craze dies down, there won't be such a hot sale situation anymore. At the end of her speech, Sweet Dream couldn't help but look at Bailey Hongzhuang. She didn't want to hurt Bailey Hongzhuang. She just wanted Bailey Hongzhuang to be mentally prepared. Bailey Hongzhuang's expression was calm. Sweet Dream's words were exactly what she had thought. Now everyone was buying out of curiosity. After all, it was just a healing medicine, so it shouldn't be that attractive. After this period of craze passed, everyone gradually calmed down. However, she believed that even without such a craze, there would still be many people attracted by the effects of her healing medicine. Overall, her sale this time could be said to be extremely successful. I understand. I will continue to supply you with healing medicine for the next few days. You don't have to worry. Hearing this, Sweet Dream couldn't help but feel relieved. That's good. Young Master D, I have a question that I've always wanted to ask you. Sweet Dream hesitated for a moment before speaking. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows and asked, what is it? Why do you have so much healing medicine? Are you a doctor? Sweet Dream stared at Bailey Hongzhuang and finally asked the question in her heart. She had been curious about this question for a long time. Although she had many guesses in her heart, she didn't dare to ask. Chapter 3083. Listening to Sweet Dream's question, Bailey Hongzhuang nodded and frankly admitted her identity. Yes, at this point there was no use in hiding her identity. These healing medicines were all made by her. Presumably anyone with a discerning eye could guess. After all, No cultivator would carry so many healing pills with them at all times. After receiving Bailey Hongzhuang's answer, Sweet Dream's face also showed a look of understanding. She finally knew the real answer. Then why don't you live in the doctor's residence but live on the second floor? Sweet Dream didn't understand. The treatment in the doctor's residence is much better than on the second floor. My big brother and the others are still here. Just a simple sentence had already let Sweet Dream understand the real reason. She couldn't help but feel annoyed. She was too stupid before, she didn't even think of this point. At the same time, Sweet Dream was also a little glad. Although her previous actions offended Bailey Hongzhuang, the situation was obviously successfully remedied. A poor cultivator and a doctor with superb medical skills, these were two completely different identities. Although she didn't understand why Bailey Hongzhuang, a doctor, was poor when she first came to Demon Refining Island, Bailey Hongzhuang has now used her actions to prove her ability. Thinking of this, Sweet Dream couldn't help but feel happy. Fortunately, Bailey Hongzhuang's big brother and friend were not doctors, otherwise, she wouldn't have the opportunity to know Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang didn't know the joy in the woman's heart at all. After knowing the specific situation, she returned to the house. According to today's situation, I'm afraid they couldn't rest tonight. They had to make medicine overnight, otherwise there wouldn't be enough to sell tomorrow. This time, Sweet Dream also brought the spirit stones obtained from the 500 sets of healing medicines. Looking at the astonishing number of spirit stones, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others all had a touch of joy on their faces. Since they came to Penglai Island, this was the first time they saw such a huge amount of money. Looking at these spirit stones, I'm filled with boundless motivation. Shangguan Yingying's eyes shone brightly, reflecting the light of the spirit stone. She was full of excitement. As long as we hold on for a few more days, these spirit stones will be enough for us to cultivate in seclusion until we break through to the 5th level of the Purple Realm, Di Beichun said slowly. Following Di Beichun's words, a joyful smile appeared on everyone's faces. Once they broke through to the Purple Realm, then they wouldn't have to be as restrained as they were now. They wouldn't have to be mere spectators in the arena area. Most importantly, they would be able to stand up and face the provocations of others directly. We have to rush our work tonight. After we finish these few days, we will go into closed-door cultivation, Bailey Hongzhuang said with a smile. Just as Sweet Dream and Bailey Hongzhuang had expected, the number of orders on the second day was even more than the first. Everyone's enthusiasm didn't decrease in the slightest. The level of popularity left even the higher-ups of the Demon Training Tower speechless. There were many treasures in the Demon Training Tower, but there was only one case that could reach this level. In order to help with the sales, the higher-ups of the Demon Training Tower even specially sent a helper to Sweet Dream. Sweet Dream's status also increased by quite a bit compared to before. Chapter 3084. Many cultivators who had bought the healing medicine because of its popularity found that its effects did not increase at all after using it. Although the price was a little more expensive than healing medicine, the healing speed was much faster than normal healing medicine. The reason why everyone bought healing medicine was to be able to heal their injuries faster. Now that there was a healing medicine in the middle, it became everyone's first choice. For 3 consecutive days, Bailey Hongzhuang and the rest were busy concocting the healing medicine in the house. Now, not to mention Bailey Hongzhuang, even Shangguan Yingying and the rest were familiar with concocting the medicine. Unfamiliar at first, but familiar at second. Now, their speed of grinding the herbs was constantly increasing. With the help of essence power, the speed of grinding the herbs was also extremely fast. Xiao He and Xiao Bai did not need to be mentioned. They usually helped their master with this. As for Baisher, whose claws were not nimble enough, it could only help to pay attention to the movements. Most of the time it was eating demon crystals while paying attention. As soon as the sales of the healing medicine exploded, everyone became curious about Bailey Hongzhuang. What's more, the amount of spirit stones that could be exchanged for such a large number of sales was absolutely enormous. There were definitely a lot of people who were jealous. Bailey Hongzhuang and the rest found that the number of cultivators who came to the second floor had obviously increased these 2 days. Many people were wandering around this floor. wanting to find out where the number 18 on the second floor lived and find out her true identity. This was the trouble of not living in the medicine refinery and medicine refinery district. If she lived there, naturally no one would dare to disturb her. But as an ordinary cultivator on the second floor, there was no deterrence. In other words, it was very likely that she was someone who could be manipulated by others. As long as they controlled Bailey Hongzhuang, they would be able to obtain a lot of spirit stones. This was undoubtedly a good plan in everyone's hearts. This was also the point that Bailey Hongzhuang was most worried about. There were not many cultivators living on the second floor of the Demon Training Tower. As long as everyone investigated carefully, it would not take long for them to discover their true identities. If that was the case, then it would be truly troublesome. Therefore, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others quickly made a decision. They would take advantage of this opportunity to make a huge profit and not sell it again. It was undoubtedly unwise to attract more trouble because of this. After making another 500 sets of medicinal ingredients, everyone stopped to rest. Master, there are more and more people loitering outside our door today. Baishir slowly walked to Bailey Hongzhuang's side. His bright eyes filled with human-like worry. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others' faces darkened. This was not good news for them. In this situation, I'm afraid that even Sweet Dream wouldn't dare to come to us. Once she appears, our residence will be completely exposed, Bailey Hongzhuang said slowly. Di Beichen frowned. These guys are not soft-hearted people. Their purpose in coming to us is undoubtedly to take advantage of this opportunity to make a fortune. We have to think of a way to change our residence. This place is simply too unsafe. When Xiren nodded, these guys are really despicable. They're already thinking of such a bad idea. I'm afraid that we can't continue to stay here. Chapter 3085. If I live there, then what will happen to you guys? Bailey Hongzhuang frowned. She had never thought of this problem before. She didn't think it would be so troublesome. As long as you're safe, then it doesn't matter. We're just a few unimportant people. The others won't care about us. Xiren slowly said. At this time, Diban shook his head. Not necessarily. We came to the Demon Training Tower with Hongzhuang. As long as the other party wants to, it won't be hard to find out. When the time comes, Hongzhuang will live upstairs. Naturally, there won't be any problems, but we'll become the weak point. Moreover, you can't forget that there's still Lu Mingxiu who isn't willing to accept this. Di Beichen's voice was deep. His eyes flashed with a deep light, giving everyone a warning. With Lu Mingxiu's personality, he's lost a lot of face this time. I'm afraid he won't let this go. However, we don't know what he'll do for now. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded. Shangguan Yingying's face also became ugly. If that's the case, then this matter is really troublesome. Right now, those people outside are clearly scoundrels. If Sweet Dream can't come to us to get the medicine, then it'll be very troublesome. Di Beichen's eyes narrowed. His calm and handsome face was filled with thoughts. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. He said in a deep voice, Hongzhuang, I'm afraid we'll have to negotiate with the Demon Training Tower's higher-ups. What do you mean? Give up on the cut and give them more benefits in exchange for a quiet place to live. Bailey Hongzhuang's dark and bright eyes flashed with understanding. She nodded. I understand. The Demon Training Tower's people shouldn't be lacking money. Will it be effective if we use this bargaining chip to negotiate? Xiren couldn't help but ask. Di Beichen replied. Those people are all people who don't get up early without benefits. Isn't the Demon Training Tower's things so expensive because they want to make money? As long as we show them enough benefits, they will definitely agree. After all, this is not a difficult matter for them. No matter what, I'll talk to them first. If it really doesn't work, we can only change rooms and go to a floor with more people, Bailey Hongzhuang said in a deep voice. This was the most important thing right now. She felt that what Di Beichen said was very reasonable. The possibility of the Demon Training Tower's upper echelons agreeing was very high. When Di Beichen walked out of his room, he saw a lot of people wandering around outside. When they saw Di Beichen, their eyes immediately fell on him. Di Beichen pretended to be surprised and looked at the people around him, as if he didn't know what was going on. Originally, Bailey Hongzhuang had planned to personally look for Sweet Dream, but she was stopped by Di Beichen. Now that they could encounter danger at any time, it was better for him to come out and take a look. Could this guy be number 18? He looks very young. I've never seen him before. This room's door has always been closed. Maybe he really is. Even now, no one knows who number 18 is. This is very awkward. At this time, Di Beichen walked to the side of a cultivator and asked curiously, "Brother, what happened in the past 2 days? What are you all doing here?" Chapter 3086. You don't know what's happened these days? I've been cultivating and only came out today. Our second floor is usually very quiet. There's no one here at all. What's going on today? Di Beichen's eyes flashed with a strong sense of curiosity, but more than that, he was puzzled and puzzled. It was as if he wanted to join in on the fun. He constantly looked around, obviously guessing all kinds of possibilities in his mind. Then why did you come out now? I've been in seclusion for a few days. I'm hungry, so I want to go to the counter to order something to eat. To be honest, I lost a little badly last time. I'm going to go into seclusion for a while to get my face back. But brother, can you tell me what you're doing? Maybe I can help. If there's something good, we can split it in half. Di Beichen's eyes flashed with a Philistine light. He kept rubbing his hands, extremely curious. Looking at Di Beichen's appearance, the cultivator couldn't help but wave his hand and say, "I think you should go and order something to eat. These things don't matter at all." Don't be like that, brother. Just tell me what's going on. You've been in seclusion for the past few days. What's the use of telling you? Get out of here. The man waved his hand. His face was full of impatience, and his heart was full of disdain. Sure enough, the people living on the second floor were all a bunch of poor people. As long as they saw an opportunity, they would take advantage of it to make a fortune. He couldn't be bothered with them. When the others saw this scene, they also shifted their attention away from Di Beichen. Because Di Beichen's performance was too real. It didn't look like he was acting at all. He didn't look guilty at all. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others had been paying attention to Di Beichen's situation in the room. Once Di Beichen was stopped, they would definitely rush out to help. However, Di Beichen easily got away with it. They couldn't help but smile. Beichen's camouflage ability is really good. Many people's attention has been diverted. When Xiren's face was brimming with a comfortable smile. His originally tense nerves relaxed in an instant, and he sat down on the chair with peace of mind. I really admire Beichen. If it were me, I'm afraid I would have easily exposed myself. Shangguan couldn't help but sigh. Just by looking at Di Beichen's actions, she couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat for Di Beichen. Sweet Dream continued to receive one order after another, but she wasn't happy at all. On the contrary, she was very worried. She had noticed earlier that almost all the cultivators on the second floor were being watched. No matter who walked out, they would be noticed. In this kind of situation, she didn't dare to look for Bailey Hongzhuang. Once she did, it would be the same as exposing Bailey Hongzhuang. She had stayed in the demon training tower for so long, so she wasn't unfamiliar with this kind of situation. As long as Bailey Hongzhuang was recognized, then it would be impossible for her to cultivate peacefully. Once these people made a move, they would be extremely cruel. However, if she didn't go to see Bailey Hongzhuang, then she wouldn't have any healing medicine to sell. As time passed, this would also cause dissatisfaction. With the sales of healing medicine being so hot, she really didn't know what to do now. Chapter 3087. Young Master D. A hint of joy appeared in Sweet Dream's eyes. She was just worrying about what to do, but she did not expect Di Beichen to appear here. She understood that Di Beichen must have known about the current situation, which was why he did not let Bailey Hongzhuang come personally. With Di Beichen's appearance, many people's eyes fell on him, each with their own plans. "Miss Sweet Dream, I'd like to order lunch." Di Beichen smiled faintly. Hearing this, Sweet Dream was slightly stunned, but she quickly understood Di Beichen's meaning. and her expression returned to normal in an instant. The menu is here, what would you like to order? Just these few. Baichin reached out and handed the Cosmos sack to Sweet Dream. The rest of my belongings are here, see if it's enough. However, just as Sweet Dream was about to take the Cosmos sack, a cultivator suddenly stopped her. Wait. Baichin and Sweet Dream's expressions froze, and they turned to look at the cultivator. It's just ordering a dish, do you need to use a Cosmos sack to carry it? The cultivator's eyes shone with a shrewd light. Don't tell me you're number 18? Baichin frowned slightly, and a hint of anger appeared on his face. I don't know what you're talking about. You don't know? The cultivator chuckled, let me make sure. At this moment, not only this cultivator, but the eyes of the other cultivators around also became sharp in an instant. Baichin's appearance and actions were too suspicious. The Cosmos sack was snatched away at the first moment, and Sweet Dream's face could not help but show a strong sense of fear. Once the healing medicine was discovered, it would be really troublesome. Give it back to me. Baichin reached out to snatch the Cosmos sack back, obviously extremely angry. At this moment, almost everyone was sure that Baichin was in room 18 on the second floor. There was no other possibility. However, when the cultivator checked the items in the Qianquan bag, the excitement on his face quickly disappeared. This was because he did not find any healing medicine in the Cosmos sack, only a love letter. Only then did Baichin snatch the Qianquan pouch. He glared at him and said, "What are you doing? I thought I found the right person. I didn't expect it to be just a love letter asking for love. Is there a need to be so secretive?" The cultivator's face could not hide the disappointment. Baichin's actions were even more speechless. Some of the cultivators who were preparing to attack Baichin also stopped their actions. Their faces were filled with speechlessness. How could such a thing happen at a time like this? How could they not be speechless? Sweet Dream, who was originally extremely nervous, couldn't help but be stunned after hearing this. Especially after hearing the words love letter, she couldn't help but think of Bailey Hongzhuang. Her pretty face immediately turned red. Looking at Sweet Dream's expression, the crowd no longer had any doubts. Their original suspicions were completely dispelled. At this moment, Baichin couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Xiren was really thoughtful. He didn't think of this at first, but Xiren vividly wrote a love letter, saying that this would completely dispel everyone's suspicions about him. He never thought that this scene would really be predicted by Xiren, allowing him to survive a crisis. Chapter 3088. Baichin's expression was somewhat awkward. Only then did he take out another Qianquan pouch and hand it to Sweet Dream. At this moment, no one had any interest in looking through Baichin's Qianquan pouch, and allowed him to pass it to Sweet Dream. Sweet Dream took the Qianquan pouch and glanced at it briefly. She found that the Qianquan pouch was filled with healing medicine. Her palms couldn't help but sweat as she quickly put the Qianquan pouch away. At this moment, some of the cultivators who had been waiting in front of Bailey Hongzhuang's room walked to the counter. After knowing that Baichin's love letter had been stopped halfway, everyone completely dispelled their suspicions towards Baichin. Even when Baichin returned to the room, no one paid any attention to him. "Baichin, how is it? Did my love letter come in handy?" As soon as Baichin entered the room, Xiren couldn't help but ask. Baichin glanced at Xiren indifferently. "In my opinion, it's more suitable for you to do this kind of thing in the future." As soon as he said this, Xiren couldn't help but laugh loudly. "Haha, I knew it would be like this. I'm afraid that no one will suspect you anymore." "That's true. I'm afraid that no one will suspect me if I hand over any Qianquan pouch to Sweet Dream in the future." Baichin revealed a helpless expression. "We naturally have outstanding talent in this area. But this way Sweet Dream won't really think that you like her, right?" As Xiren spoke, he couldn't help but look at Bailey Hongzhuang. It wouldn't be good if there was a misunderstanding because of his prank. "You're thinking too much. Sweet Dream likes our master." Xiaohei couldn't help but stand out. Following Xiaohei's words, Baichin, when Xiren and Shangguan Yingying's gazes all fell on Bailey Hongzhuang. They were all filled with disbelief. "Did I hear wrongly? Did you say that Sweet Dream likes Hongzhuang?" When Xiren was speechless, Xiaohei nodded confidently. You don't usually have much interaction with Sweet Dream. I've noticed that Sweet Dream blushes every time she talks to Master. What's more, Master's identity is no longer that of a pauper's from before. What's so impossible? Shangguan Yingying rubbed her head as she pondered. Hongzhuang looks. It's not impossible for Sweet Dream to like him. Shangguan Yingying rubbed her head as she pondered. Thought. Xiren, don't worry. Sweet Dream won't think that I like her because I wrote your name at the bottom of the letter. Di Beichen spread out his hands. Xiren couldn't help but be stunned when he heard this. He immediately recalled that after he had finished writing the love letter, Di Beichen had taken it to have a look and even added 2 lines. He didn't look carefully at the contents of the love letter. Only now did he know that Di Beichen had signed his name. Beichen, you're too inhumane. Xiren couldn't help but complain. However, Di Beichen didn't have the slightest self-awareness of betraying his brother. I only have my wife in my heart. Even if I can get away with it, I can't give a love letter to someone else. If I make my wife unhappy, can you bear the responsibility? Then why didn't you think about it for me? Xiren's mouth twitched. Recently, he found that Di Beichen was becoming more and more of a beast. This love letter was written by you. Besides, didn't Yingying give you some advice? Di Beichen's voice was calm, and there wasn't the slightest bit of embarrassment on his face. Chapter 3089. Bailey Hongzhuang's face was full of smiles. Di Beichen had tricked Wen Xiren in this aspect. He really didn't have to pay for it. In fact, when Di Beichen had signed Wen Xiren's name, she had also noticed it. However, when she saw Xiren smiling so brightly, she didn't expose him. She wanted to see Wen Xiren's expression at the end. Now that she saw it, he was indeed very happy. Beichen, so you've successfully sent the healing medicine to Sweet Dream? Bailey Hongzhuang asked with a smile. Di Beichen nodded. I've already sent the healing medicine and the note. We have news to discuss with the higher-ups. I believe Sweet Dream won't ignore it. Then we'll just have to wait for the news, Bailey Hongzhuang replied. After Beichen's ruckus just now, no one doubts that we're number 18 anymore. We can breathe a sigh of relief for the time being. Xiren raised his eyebrows. Didn't you notice that the people at the door have gradually dispersed? They seem to have changed their target to the other side. Although there aren't many cultivators on the entire second floor, I'm afraid they don't have the ability to check one by one. These people are just here to try their luck. If they meet us, then they can make a fortune. As for the other experts who are really capable, they have no interest in wasting their time on us. Oh? Lu Mingxiu now hated Bailey Hongzhuang to the extreme. In recent days, whenever he appeared, he would inevitably be mocked. Although his status wasn't weak, and most people didn't dare to offend him, he had many enemies. Therefore, he took this opportunity to be ridiculed. When he thought of Bailey Hongzhuang, Lu Mingxiu was furious. If he suffered such a big loss like this, he really wouldn't be able to raise his head in front of those people in the future. Since you want to hide and don't want to reveal your true identity, then I'll go and investigate one by one. Let's see if you can continue to hide. There was a cold light in Lu Mingxiu's eyes. Last time he had been one step behind, trying to steal a chicken only to end up losing the rice used to lure it. This time, he would directly expose Bailey Hongzhuang to the eyes of others. He didn't need to do anything to solve the problem. When Sweet Dream was selling the healing medicine, she found a note in her Cosmos sack. She opened it and immediately went to inform the higher-ups of the demon training tower. Compared to selling the healing medicine, this was the most important thing at the moment. The higher-ups of the demon training tower were obviously very interested in Bailey Hongzhuang. Now hearing that Bailey had taken the initiative to discuss a deal with them, they were immediately interested. Young Master D, Steward Qin invites you upstairs for a detailed discussion. All right, I'll go with you. Di Beichen followed closely. Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at Di Beichen and knew that Di Beichen was concerned about her, so she nodded. All right. Under Sweet Dream's lead, Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen arrived at the room where they were invited. Although they had heard of the higher-ups of the demon training tower, they had never talked to them face to face. Sweet Dream was the one who had passed on the message. Young Master D, you guys sit here for a moment. I'll go inform Steward Qin. All right. Not long after Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen tasted their tea, Steward Qin walked into the room with a smile on his face. Young Master D, nice to meet you. Chapter 3090. I heard from Sweet Dream that the two of you have something to discuss with me? Steward Qin was about 40 years old. His square face was always filled with a friendly smile, but the shrewdness that occasionally flashed in his eyes made people understand his identity as a businessman. Di Beichen nodded slightly and said, Steward Qin should have some understanding of our situation these past 2 days. I wonder if young Master D is referring to the popularity of the healing medicine or something else. Steward Qin asked in confusion. Seeing that Steward Qin did not understand the situation, Di Beichen did not want to beat around the bush. He knew very well in his heart that Steward Qin had the upper hand in this negotiation, and the other party only wanted to see if they had enough chips. In the past 2 days, many people have started to inquire about our identities. Steward Qin should also understand that we only want to use this healing medicine to earn some spirit stones. We don't want to cause any trouble because of this. So it's about this matter. Steward Qin suddenly realized, I've heard a little about this matter. I wonder what your plans are now? Seeing that Steward Qin still did not let go, Di Beichen also cursed in his heart. The other party obviously did not want to let go of the eagle without seeing the rabbit, so all of this could only be brought up by them. With our current situation, it's not convenient for us to live on the 2nd floor. I hope that Steward Qin can do us a favor and let us live in the alchemist and doctor's residential area. Di Beichen and Bailey Hongzhuang's gazes fell on Steward Qin. They had already said so much, so Steward Qin could no longer continue to pretend. Young Master D, it's not that I don't want to help you, but this matter is really difficult to handle. Steward Qin rubbed his chin with his right hand, his face revealing a troubled expression. If it was only second young Master D living there alone, there would naturally be no problem. However, young Master D and your other 2 friends are not alchemists or doctors. If I agree to let you live there together, I'm afraid it will cause a lot of dissatisfaction. You should know that although I have a certain amount of weight in this demon training tower, there are still many things that need to be done according to the rules. Otherwise, if someone is not convinced, it will be a big problem for me. According to Steward Qin, this method won't work? Bailey Hongzhuang asked. Steward Qin frowned. It's really difficult. Seeing this scene, Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but secretly curse in her heart. Steward Qin only said that the matter was difficult to handle, and didn't say that it couldn't be done. This meant that it could be done, but the specific way to do it would depend on the chips they took out. Steward Qin, if this continues, then I won't be able to continue selling this healing medicine. Bailey Hongzhuang frowned. This is a huge loss. Steward Qin couldn't help but say. Steward Qin, why don't we still maintain the original sharing method? You will charge 40% of the processing fee. After that, no matter what the sales volume is, the sharing method will not change. How about you arrange for us to live upstairs? Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's words, Steward Qin's eyes quietly flashed with a bright light, but the difficult expression on his face still did not dissipate. Chapter 3091. Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen couldn't help but look at each other. They only felt that this Steward Qin was even more difficult to deal with than they had imagined. They had already taken out their chips, but this Steward Qin was still putting on airs and refused to give an answer. Obviously, he still wanted to see if they could offer a higher chip. This feeling of being controlled by the other party was very unpleasant. However, with their current situation, it would be best if they could go to the living area of the alchemists and doctors. Steward Qin, to be honest, as a doctor I have a lot of things. This healing medicine is just one of the things that I have taken out. Bailey Hongzhuang slowly spoke, her gaze always falling on Steward Qin. She could only release her chips one by one, and see when Steward Qin would let go. Of course, if this steward Qin opened his mouth and offered conditions that she could not accept, she would not pay attention to it. If it really didn't work, they would just leave the demon training pagoda. Following Bailey Hongzhuang's words, Steward Qin's eyes lit up. In that case, second young Master D has a lot of skills? Can you still take out medicine with the same effect as the healing medicine? Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. Of course, there's no problem. It's just that I'm only selling the healing medicine in exchange for the spirit stones that we need for cultivation. There's no need to take out anything else. Seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang was so honest, Steward Qin couldn't help but frown. Second young Master D, don't you plan to take advantage of this opportunity to earn more spirit stones? My focus is still on cultivation. Earning spirit stones is just a way for me to improve my cultivation. Bailey Hongzhuang's expression was indifferent. Money was just a worldly possession. Her goal had never been to make money. What's more, I don't have much use for earning these spirit stones. If I can't even get what I want the most, what's the point? Bailey Hongzhuang sighed faintly. When she first came to the Penglai Island, she did want to earn more spirit stones in order to be able to buy the 2 medicinal herbs she needed at the auction. However, the news that Yi Lifei told them later made her completely despair. Other than helping with cultivation, these spirit stones had no other use. Oh, a hint of curiosity appeared on Steward Qin's face. Could it be that there's something that spirit stones can't exchange for? Our demon training pagoda's resources are also very rich. Why don't second young Master D tell us about it? As soon as he said that, Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen's eyes lit up. If the 3 forces of the Penglai Island, then the demon training pagoda was an existence that could not be ignored. Maybe with the help of the pagoda as a platform, they would have a chance to use it with the help of the pagoda with the help of the demon training pagoda's platform. Hongzhuang's tears and Hongzhuang's ginseng? A hint of surprise appeared on Steward Qin's face. As far as I know, the usage rate of these 2 medicinal herbs is not high. Why are you collecting these 2 medicinal herbs? Chapter 3092. Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen had a faint feeling in their hearts that the tears of Cold Flame and the Purple Dragon Emperor Ginseng seemed to be something that the upper echelons of Penglai Island knew about. It could be seen from the surprised expression on Steward Qin's face. However, they really didn't understand. They collected these 2 medicinal herbs to change Di Beichen's cursed body. Then why did the other party collect these 2 medicinal herbs? I'm researching a prescription and I just happen to need these 2 medicinal herbs, Bailey Hongzhuang said calmly. Di Beichen also said, my second brother has always liked to research new prescriptions, so the prescriptions he takes out are often different from those of ordinary doctors. Hearing this, Steward Qin revealed a look of realization. So that's how it is. What I admire the most is a doctor like second young Master D who likes to research new prescriptions. Unlike ordinary doctors, he doesn't have anything of his own. Previously, I was curious as to why the healing medicine made by second young Master D would have such an amazing effect. Now I finally understand. In that case, second young Master D should have a lot of effective prescriptions that he has mastered. Steward Qin looked at Bailey Hongzhuang tentatively and asked. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded. That's right. Young Masters D, since we've already said this much, how about we talk about a business deal? A serious expression appeared on Steward Qin's face. He was no longer as cold and indifferent as before. He only listened to Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen's conditions. Please speak, Steward Qin. Di Beichen's expression remained the same, but in his heart, he secretly thought that this old fox had indeed begun to be tempted. We don't have the tears of Cold Flame in the blood refining tower. But we do have a purple dragon emperor ginseng in our inventory. Following Steward Qin's words, Bailey Hongzhuang felt her heart thumping. She didn't expect that the blood refining tower would really have it. However, both Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen controlled their emotions extremely well. In this negotiation, whoever appeared to be too anxious would have to pay more in the negotiation. As long as young Master D gives the prescription of this healing medicine to our demon training tower, I will give you this purple dragon emperor ginseng. How about it? Of course, while young Master D is in the demon training tower, You can still sell this healing medicine. Our demon training tower will not sell it. Our demon training tower will not sell it. We mainly sell it to other islands. Steward Qin's eyes were deep as he looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. In addition, I can arrange for you to live in the medicine master and doctor's area. Cultivators will no longer be able to find out your identity, saving you a lot of trouble. Hearing Steward Qin's words, Bailey Master Stewards from the very beginning, it's Steward Qin it a medicines, from the start, it's. It was better to teach a man to fish than to give him a fish. If she sold the healing medicine in the demon training tower, the demon training tower would only earn a small profit. However, once the prescription fell into the hands of the demon training tower, the situation would be completely different. The spirit stones they earned were definitely a huge number. Bailey Hongzhuang was very clear about the value of her healing medicine. A healing medicine that healed at a speed comparable to that of a healing pill was enough to attract everyone's attention. However, compared to the Purple Dragon Emperor ginseng, this price was nothing. She didn't plan to make a fortune through this healing medicine. Chapter 3093. Although the value of the Purple Dragon Emperor ginseng was very high, it was of no use in their hands. In his opinion, this Purple Dragon Emperor ginseng was a very unpopular medicinal herb. Ordinary alchemists and doctors would not be able to use it at all. Coincidentally, Bailey Hongzhuang needed it, so it was not too much for him to use it as a bargaining chip. However, he did not know how much Bailey Hongzhuang valued this Purple Dragon Emperor ginseng. If it was any other doctor, they would definitely not agree. However, he still wanted to try Bailey Hongzhuang's attitude. Just as Steward Qin was secretly thinking about the possibility of Bailey Hongzhuang agreeing, he had no idea that Bailey Hongzhuang was already crazy with joy in her heart. This deal was really worth it for Bailey Hongzhuang. Steward Qin, you should know that a doctor's prescription has always been very precious, not to mention that it was developed by my second brother himself. Di Beichen frowned, and a hint of hesitation appeared on his face. I know, but I want to arrange for you to live in a place that you can't live in. This can be considered breaking the rules of our demon training tower. This kind of thing is not something that I can decide on my own. If I don't take out something valuable, I'm afraid that everyone will not be convinced. The two of you should think about it carefully. Steward Qin sized up Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen. He had already seen through Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen's strength. Otherwise, he would not be so worried about other cultivators recognizing their identities. He believed that smart people would choose between a prescription and their own safety. Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen pretended to hesitate. After thinking for a long time, they reluctantly nodded and agreed. All right, then let's do this. I hope that Steward Qin can immediately arrange for us to live there. Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's answer, the smile on Steward Qin's face deepened. He immediately nodded and said, "No problem, I'll arrange it immediately." At the same time, Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen couldn't help but look at each other. Their hearts were already blooming with joy. Today's negotiations were definitely worth more than what they had paid for. While Bailey Hongzhuang and Steward Qin were busy negotiating, when Xiren and Shangguan Yingying had worried expressions on their faces as they paced back and forth in the room like ants on a hot pan. Isn't this Lu Mingxiu a little too weird? He's bent on finding us. Shangguan Yingying frowned. Just now she noticed that there was a lot of movement outside, so she went to take a look. It turned out that Lu Mingxiu had ordered people to search room by room to find the existence of number 18. It wouldn't be long before they were found here. As long as they checked their plate number, they would immediately be able to determine their identity. This was simply too bad. Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen were not here. However, she and Xiren were number 19 and 20 respectively. Everyone could easily tell that they were the cultivators who came with Hongzhuang. This guy suffered a big loss last time. Now that he has such an opportunity, of course he wants to take advantage of it to take revenge. Xiren's face was gloomy. If it wasn't for his lack of strength, he really wanted to kill Lu Mingxiu. Those cultivators from before weren't very strong. Most of them came here to try their luck. However, no one on the second floor is a match for Lu Mingxiu. It'll be very difficult for us to resist him. Once we're discovered, there'll be endless trouble. Chapter 3094. Lu Mingxiu confirmed the identities of the cultivators one by one, and the smile on his face gradually widened. He had a premonition that they were not far from finding Bailey Hongzhuang. Now that more and more people had gathered on the second floor, he just stood there quietly and watched others check the number plates. Basically, all the cultivators living on the second floor did not dare to show any dissatisfaction after seeing him. They could only obediently take out their number plates for him to check. The other cultivators also knew about the grudge between Lu Mingxiu and number 18. Now that they had this opportunity, they were naturally overjoyed. Lu Mingxiu did not intend to personally attack number 18, which meant that they had a chance to make a fortune. Even though no one knew number 18's true identity, after number 18's performance these days, everyone vaguely concluded that number 18's cultivation was definitely not strong. Otherwise, she would not have been hiding like this. As time gradually passed, Shangguan Yingying and Wen Ziren became more and more worried. This was really bad. Now that the second floor was basically sealed off, the two of them could not leave even if they wanted to. At this moment there was a knock on the door. Shangguan Yingying and Wen Ziren could not help but look at each other, and a trace of seriousness appeared on their faces. The other party had come looking for them. They slowly opened the door, but the person standing outside was not Lu Mingxiu and the others as they expected, but Sweet Dream. Miss Shangguan, Young Master 1, Young Master D and the others asked me to bring you to the alchemist and Dr. area, Sweet Dream said with a faint smile. Shangguan Yingying and Wen Ziren, who were originally extremely nervous, could not help but breathe a sigh of relief, but the seriousness on their faces did not dissipate. Sweet Dream, there are people outside searching room by room. I'm afraid we will be stopped if we leave now, right? It's okay. Follow me through the staff passage at the back. We shouldn't be discovered. They will be here soon. Let's go quickly. Okay, let's go immediately. Wen Ziren looked back into the room. After seeing that there was nothing inside, the two of them immediately left with Sweet Dream. Not long after Wen Ziren and Lu Mingxiu left, Lu Mingxiu and the others arrived at their residence. Wen Ziren and Lu Mingxiu could not help but heave a sigh of relief when they saw this. It was truly too dangerous. However, Lu Mingxiu and the others were completely unaware that the person they were looking for had just left. After Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen completed the transaction with Steward Qin, they took the lead to go to the alchemist and doctor area. When they came up to take a look, the environment was indeed much better than the second floor. Every room was exceptionally spacious, and there was even a special place for doctors to make medicine. Compared to the second floor, it was no wonder that the second floor was called a slum. Not only that, there was no need to pay any fees to stay here, and most cultivators would not come to the residential area, which would save them a lot of trouble. Even if there were cultivators who came, most of them would also buy things at the counter. But disturbing alchemists and doctors, that was something that no one would rashly do. Steward Qin gave us 4 rooms, but with our situation we only need 2 rooms. Chapter 3095. In Steward Qin's opinion, he has taken advantage of this negotiation. With his status as a high-ranking member of the Demon Training Pagoda, the value he has judged will not be wrong. Just your prescription for healing medicine is already extremely precious. As for this purple dragon emperor ginseng, it is very valuable to us, but I don't think it is of much value to him. Through this prescription, he can crazily amass wealth and exchange it for even more precious medicinal herbs. Even if he sells this prescription in the end, it will still be a profitable business for him. Di Beichen's deep eyes stared at Bailey Hongzhuang with a bit of guilt and heartache. Wife, for a purple dragon emperor ginseng, you sold your prescription. Without waiting for Di Beichen to finish speaking, Bailey Hongzhuang smiled and said, it's just an ordinary prescription for healing medicine. It's nothing to me, so you don't have to worry about it. I have as many of these prescriptions as I want, so there's no need to feel sorry for them. Steward Qin feels that he has made a good deal, and I feel that our deal is the one that is really worth it. Di Beichen did not say anything, but his gaze quietly deepened. For his strange physique, Hong Zhuang had paid too much. Beichen, back then when I was a useless young lady from Fengbo country, you supported me without any complaints or regrets. Now that we are husband and wife, you and I should support each other, right? Bailey Hongzhuang tilted her head and stared at Di Beichen. Her beautiful eyes were brimming with a bright light, as dazzling as the Milky Way. The sincerity and deep affection in her eyes moved Di Beichen's heart. The smile on Di Beichen's lips gradually widened, and the deep affection in his eyes became more and more indulgent. A deep kiss directly landed on Bailey Hongzhuang's lips. With a wife like this, what more could a husband ask for? He only hoped that his physique could successfully change. He would use the rest of his life to treat Hongzhuang well. Bailey Hongzhuang blushed. Just as Beichen wanted to give her all the good things, she had the same idea. As long as it was for the other party, any price was worth it. Not to mention an ordinary prescription, as long as it could be exchanged for the medicinal herbs they needed. No matter how precious the prescription was, she wouldn't mind at all. The Amethyst Dragon Emperor ginseng is already in our hands. All that's left is the Tears of Frostfire. The light in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes grew brighter and brighter. Beichen, I think we will definitely be able to gather all these herbs. Originally, after hearing some news from Yi Li Fei, she had felt very desperate. She had never thought that there would be such a pleasant surprise today, which could not help but rekindle her hope. Di Beichen nodded heavily and said in a deep and firm voice, "We will definitely find them. No matter what, he would never leave Hongzhuang." The position of the Demon Training Pagoda in Penglai Island cannot be underestimated. If the healing medicine that Steward Qin sent people to make sells well on Penglai Island, maybe we can use the Demon Training Pagoda as a channel to find the Tears of Frostfire. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows. Compared to the few of them searching alone, the success rate of the Demon Training Pagoda's help was much higher. I don't know what kind of power took away the Tears of Frostfire. According to Steward Qin's performance today, I think he should know. Chapter 3096. You mean to say that Steward Qin is the breakthrough point? Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes lit up. Why don't we start with Steward Qin and ask him why he collected these two medicinal ingredients? If we can think of a way to exchange for a set of Tears of Cold Flame from him, that would be the best. Di Beichen thought for a moment, then shook his head and said, "Now is not the time. The other party is obviously not a small power." Today, when Steward Qin thought of the other party, I noticed a flash of fear on his face. Steward Qin is indeed a breakthrough point, but with our current situation, it is not enough to meet the conditions for negotiation. Right now, we are not in a hurry to talk about this matter. We will talk about it after we have more chips. If we appear to be in a hurry, it will give Steward Qin an opportunity to take advantage of us. Hearing Di Beichen's words, Bailey Hongzhuang also calmed down. You're right. Steward Qin was obviously an old fox. Once they acted too anxious, he would definitely raise the price. He might even want to take advantage of this opportunity to take advantage of them. With their current situation, negotiating with a large power like the other party was like walking on thin ice. Before they had enough chips, they could only endure and not make a move. Just as Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen were talking, there was a knock on the door. When he opened the door, he saw Sweet Dream, Shangguan Ying, and Wen Ziren standing outside their door. "Young Master Di, I've already brought Miss Shangguan and the others here. I'll be going back first," Shangguan Ying said with a smile. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly and said, "Thank you, I've really troubled you today. Young Master D is too polite. It's all thanks to young Master D that I've improved so much in the Demon Training Tower. If there's anything you need my help with in the future, just ask." Sweet Dream smiled, her cheeks still flushed red. Now that she saw that Bailey Hongzhuang had completely escaped from her previous predicament, her good impression of him continued to deepen. Ziren and Shangguan Ying noticed the change in Sweet Dream's expression, and their expressions became strange. Previously, they thought that Xiaohei was talking nonsense, but they clearly noticed that Sweet Dream blushed when she was talking to Bailey Hongzhuang. She blushed. Sweet Dream was not shy when talking to all of them. She was only shy when talking to Bailey Hongzhuang. This was a little too unusual. Hongzhuang, you're finished. I'm afraid Sweet Dream has really fallen for you. Shangguan Yingying looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in astonishment. Obviously, she was also extremely surprised by this discovery. Bailey Hongzhuang was slightly stunned. She looked at Shangguan Yingying in surprise and said, Yingying, are you sure? What nonsense are you talking about? Yingying, what nonsense are you talking about? Xiaohei also jumped out and said. Xiren stared at Bailey Hongzhuang, as if he wanted to see something from Bailey Hongzhuang's face. Seeing this, Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but take 2 steps back and said, What are you doing? When Xiren rubbed his chin, his eyes filled with doubt and confusion. No matter how I look at it, your face doesn't seem to be any more handsome than mine. Could it be that my manly charm isn't as good as yours when you're disguised as a man? What kind of taste does Sweet Dream have? Chapter 3097. No matter how you look at it, our master is more charming than you. What's more, my master is a doctor. Xiaohei raised an eyebrow and jumped happily on Bailey Hongzhuang's shoulder. She didn't believe it at all when she said this before, but now there was finally someone who thought the same as her. Hearing this, Xiren nodded, that's true. Compared to Hongzhuang's wealthy identity, Beichen and I really don't have much competition. What are you talking about? In my opinion, you're just overthinking it. Bailey Hongzhuang's face showed helplessness. She didn't have such a good sense of superiority. There were so many excellent people on this demon refining island. It would be strange if she, a woman dressed as a man, had such charm. Shangguan Yingying shook her head. Hongzhuang, with my woman's sharp intuition, I can guarantee that I'm not wrong. In the next second, Shangguan Yingying's eyes suddenly lit up, however. I think that this is a good thing. Sweet Dream likes you, so she'll definitely pay more attention to our matters in the future. This is simply too perfect. Haha, Yingying, that's a good idea. Xiren gave Shangguan Yingying a thumbs up. Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but look back at Di Beichen with a questioning look in her clear eyes. Di Beichen crossed his arms and slowly nodded under Bailey Hongzhuang's surprised gaze. This possibility isn't impossible. Oh right, Beichen Hongzhuang, I have something to tell you. After joking around, Xiren finally remembered the serious matter, and a serious look quickly appeared on his face. Previously, when you went to discuss matters, Lu Mingxiu came to the 2nd floor and checked the cultivator's number plate one by one. His goal was to find us. If Sweet Dream hadn't arrived early and took us out of the staff passageway, then we would have fallen into Lu Mingxiu's hands. Shangguan Yingying nodded repeatedly. We were almost worried to death just now. The number of cultivators was simply shocking. Fortunately, you were fast enough. Otherwise, we would have been finished. Even if she said it now, Shangguan Yingying still had some lingering fear. It was simply a matter of life and death. If they had been just a little bit later, they would have been stopped. Lu Mingxiu went looking for trouble again? Bailey Hongzhuang frowned. She had always felt that Lu Mingxiu was a big trouble. It had only been a short while, but Lu Mingxiu could not help but come looking for trouble again. Lu Mingxiu wants to find us and use others to capture us all in one fell swoop. This guy is really ruthless. Speaking of which, from the beginning to the end, he was the one looking for trouble with us. We didn't do anything at all. Xiren said coldly. When he thought about how there was no enmity between them, but Lu Mingxiu wanted to take their lives as soon as he came, he felt a chill in his heart. It's very simple. It's nothing more than that he couldn't deal with Xiaoyi Han, so he transferred this conflict to us. He wants to vent his anger through us. Di Beichen's voice was slightly cold, but his face was very calm. Those who did not have the ability often could only show their strength by bullying the weak. If they were strong, then there was no need for this. Chapter 3098. As Di Beichen's voice fell, Bailey Hongzhuang and the other two nodded in agreement. This was indeed the case. Speaking of which, Lu Mingxiu definitely won't be able to find us today. Wouldn't that make him even angrier? Shangguan Yingying pondered. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others looked at each other, their eyes big and small, their hearts somewhat speechless. I'm afraid that after today, Lu Mingxiu will hate us even more. Speaking of which, this is completely an undeserved disaster. If he didn't want to do these useless things, he wouldn't have slapped his face so hard. If I'm not wrong, Lu Mingxiu will become a joke again if today's matter is spread out. Bailey Hongzhuang spread out her hands. Her face was full of helplessness. There were always some ignorant people who lifted a stone and dropped it on their own feet. This kind of thing really couldn't be blamed on them. Haha. I'm suddenly looking forward to Lu Mingxiu's expression when he can't find us after searching all the rooms on the second floor. Xiren suddenly couldn't help but laugh. This guy always thought of ways to find trouble with them. He deserved this kind of result. Let's wait. It should be very exciting. Di Beichen nodded. In fact, everything was as Bailey Hongzhuang and the others expected. As Lu Mingxiu searched more and more rooms, his face became uglier and uglier. He had checked almost all the rooms on the second floor. He faintly had a bad premonition in his heart. If he didn't get any results after checking all the rooms today, it would be a little ugly. However, the cultivators behind Lu Mingxiu didn't notice this at all. They only became more and more excited as the remaining rooms became fewer and fewer. They were almost certain that they would find the real target next. At that time they would have to act before others did. Then tens of thousands of spirit stones would fall into their hands. After Bailey Hongzhuang and the others stayed in the alchemist and doctor area, they continued to make healing medicine. There were a lot of orders for healing medicine and they still had a lot to make. Now that they came to live here, they completely put down their burdens and didn't have to worry about safety. They could complete the orders with peace of mind. The next day, after Bailey Hongzhuang and the others handed the healing medicine to the counter for sale, they heard the news from Lu Mingxiu. Yesterday, Lu Mingxiu led a large group of cultivators to search the entire second floor. They didn't miss a single room, but they didn't find the figure of number 18 at all. Everyone guessed that number 18 might not be on the second floor for a long time. But Lu Mingxiu, who had a noble identity, made such a big fanfare to look for her, in the end to find her. And they thought, Lu Mingxiu's face, is she to find? He. 222. 222 to be. Or her. Chapter 3099. After this incident, the position of number 18 on the second floor quietly rose in everyone's hearts. Unknowingly, everyone had already regarded number 18 on the second floor as an existence on the same level as Lu Mingxiu and Xiao Yihan. Only this kind of existence could make Lu Mingxiu miss time and time again. If it was just an ordinary cultivator, there was no way they could compete with Lu Mingxiu. When Bailey Hongzhuang and the others knew what the people of the Demon Training Tower were thinking, the four of them couldn't help but laugh in the room. The people of the Demon Training Tower are really imaginative. In such a short period of time, they've already established a mysterious and mighty image for Hongzhuang. Shangguan Yingying laughed loudly. They originally didn't have enough strength and could only hide from everyone. They didn't expect that they would quietly establish such an image, and instead become infinitely mighty. This is also good. I'm afraid that no one will dare to cause trouble for Hongzhuang now. Di Beichen's lips curled into a faint smile. They just didn't show up, and they already gave the other party a show of strength. Now, the cultivators gathered on the second floor, who wanted to try their luck, had all dispersed. Clearly, they regarded Bailey Hongzhuang as an existence that couldn't be provoked. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled slightly. After today's batch of healing medicine is completed, we can go into seclusion with peace of mind. The sales of the healing medicine were far better than Sweet Dream had imagined. She originally thought that after a few days of popularity, the hot sales would die down. However, reality proved that Bailey Hongzhuang's healing medicine was very attractive. Although it wasn't as hot as before, the sales were still extremely terrifying. Clearly, these people were all returning customers and were completely here for the effects of the healing medicine. Bailey Hongzhuang's group of 4 could be said to be extremely fast at making healing medicine. In just a few days they had already stocked up a lot of healing medicine. It should be enough to support the sales for a period of time without any problems. Take advantage of this opportunity to raise our cultivation as soon as possible. When Xiren's eyes lit up as he said, Lu Mingxiu has been finding trouble for us. I hope that we can also find trouble for him one day. It's not like me to swallow my anger. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled up slightly. Just as Xiren had said, Lu Mingxiu's successive actions had already caused her displeasure. If she did not return all of this to Lu Mingxiu, it would not be in line with her style. Sweet Dream looked at the healing medicine that Bailey Hongzhuang handed over, and a look of surprise appeared in her eyes. Young Master D, I haven't sold out the healing medicine you gave me previously. Bailey Hongzhuang waved her hand and said, Sweet Dream, I plan to cultivate in seclusion for a period of time, so I'll give you these healing medicines first. If you want to contact me, you can put a note in the door. I'll come and find you when I see it. Hearing this, Sweet Dream finally understood. I understand. Don't worry. I'll definitely let you know if there's anything. Sorry to trouble you. After everything was arranged, Bailey Hongzhuang's group of 4 entered the ocean world together and began to cultivate. Taking advantage of this opportunity to break through to the 4th level of the Purple Realm in one fell swoop was their goal. There were as many monsters in the ocean world as usual, and every time they appeared, they would be ganged up on. Bailey Hongzhuang's group of 4 was extremely small in this vast sea, but it was unusually stable. Chapter 3100. Cultivation in the ocean world was extremely arduous. Bailey Hongzhuang and the other 3 might not have been familiar with battles on the surface of the sea, but after cultivating in the ocean world, they were all too familiar with the sea and no longer felt as fearful as before. Even when Xiren, who had been in the water for the shortest amount of time, felt at ease when facing the sea. However, they did not dare to enter the sea carelessly because the seemingly calm surface of the sea was filled with danger everywhere. If they were not careful, they would not lose their lives. Unknowingly, Bailey Hongzhuang and the other 3 used healing medicine at an extremely high frequency. Almost every battle caused them to be unavoidably injured, and the successive battles caused them to frequently fall into danger. However, in this process their combat power and endurance were constantly improving. Every dangerous situation they faced was a catalyst for their improvement. Almost everyone had different injuries on their bodies. The 3 beasts situation was not much better than theirs. Originally, the 3 beasts were also landlubbers. However, they were already familiar with the water. What made Bailey Hongzhuang and the rest feel helpless was that the 3 beasts had already broken through before they had succeeded in breaking through. Xiao He and Xiao Bai's breakthroughs were one thing. They had not improved for a while, but Bai Shi had broken through again. All of this was due to the demonic beasts in the sea who liked to attack in groups. Every time these demonic beasts appeared, their numbers were extremely large. Once they started fighting, the battle would not stop unless all of them were killed. As a result, all the demon crystals had entered Bai Shi's stomach. In addition to Bai Shi's abnormal attributes, he had broken through again. Now Bai Shi was the most powerful in their entire team. This made everyone feel that they were inferior to beasts. They had worked hard to cultivate, but they could only watch as the white lion improved again and again. This is simply heaven-defying. When Xiren looked speechlessly at Bai Shi, who was still eating happily. This fellow's mouth had not stopped. How good would it be if he could also improve his cultivation so easily? I'm so envious of Bai Shi. This cultivation speed is simply unparalleled. Shangguan Yingying could not hide the envy on her face. Bai Shi looked proudly at Xiren and Wenxinya. The sound of him eating the demon crystals became even clearer. You can't be envious. However, just as they were talking, Di Beichen's eyes suddenly changed. He put a finger on his lips and said, "Hong Zhuang seems to be breaking through." As soon as this was said, Wen Ziren and Shangguan Yingying both looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. Sure enough, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes were closed, and the aura in her body began to fluctuate faintly. "I'm afraid it's very dangerous to break through here." When Ziren's expression turned serious, they could be attacked by demonic beasts at any time on the sea. If Bailey Hongzhuang was disturbed while she was breaking through, it would be terrible. Di Beichen's expression was equally serious. "It's best to go back and break through. Otherwise, we can only think of a way to protect Hongzhuang from being affected." Just then, Bailey Hongzhuang opened her eyes. Her brows were tightly knitted and her expression showed that she was in pain. "Based on the time, we should be going back soon." Chapter 3101. Forcefully suppressing the opportunity to break through was not an easy task in itself, could not be maintained for a long time. Once the time limit was exceeded, this opportunity would be completely missed. It would be even more difficult to obtain this opportunity the next time. Di Beichen nodded and looked at the sky. "It should be soon. If it doesn't work, we will protect you. You don't have to worry." The three beasties looked at Bailey Hongzhuang anxiously. It was not easy to obtain such an opportunity to break through, but it had to be at such an awkward time. They were really helpless. Cold sweat seeped out of Bailey Hongzhuang's forehead. She could feel the surging elemental energy in her dantian. It was constantly churning, trying to break through the bottleneck. The seven-colored, glittering elemental energy was magnificent. It made Bailey Hongzhuang's dantian look like a galaxy, magnificent and perfect. Di Beichen had been paying attention to Bailey Hongzhuang's condition. After discovering that Bailey Hongzhuang's breath was becoming more and more unstable, he could not help but say, "Wife, don't suppress it anymore. Just break through directly. It would be a pity if you missed this opportunity." Bailey Hongzhuang stared at Di Beichen and gritted her teeth. "How much longer?" "1 minute." Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang could not help but close her eyes. She was trying her best to suppress it. It was best to break through in a safe environment. Not only that, suppressing it for a certain period of time would not cause any harm. On the contrary, it would make her foundation more stable. However, it depended on the person's ability to control this degree. Just as Bailey Hongzhuang was about to be unable to hold on, a large door appeared in front of them and directly brought them out of the ocean world. Once they returned to the doctor's residence, Bailey Hongzhuang immediately began to break through. After she stopped suppressing it, the elemental energy in her body surged wildly like a flood. The fiercer she suppressed it before, the more intense it was now. Bailey Hongzhuang clenched her teeth. She held the spirit stone with both hands and continuously operated the heaven-defying heart technique. The originally intense pain gradually stabilized as she operated the heaven-defying heart technique. She focused her mind and controlled the elemental energy to rush in one direction. Di Beichen and the other two sighed in relief after seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's condition gradually stabilizing. They were worried that the previous suppression would have a negative impact on Bailey Hongzhuang. Now, it seemed that Bailey Hongzhuang was really a lucky person. "I didn't expect Hongzhuang to be the first to break through among us. Her speed is unbelievable." Shangguan Yingying's eyes were full of amazement. She thought that when Ziren and Di Beichen would be the first to break through. She did not expect Bailey Hongzhuang to give her a surprise. "Di Beichen, we have to work harder. If we are left behind by Hongzhuang in the future, it will be very embarrassing." When Ziren smiled faintly, Di Beichen's deep eyes rippled with a faint smile. He did not answer, but his heart was somewhat heavy. As the influence of this cursed body gradually increased, he found that his cultivation was suppressed. If it was in the past, he would have broken through long ago. But now it was extremely difficult to break through the bottleneck. This feeling was completely different from before. If he was not willing to believe that the cursed body could be so powerful before, now he had no choice but to face it. Chapter 3102. This kind of feeling was really uncomfortable. However, Debachin never said this out loud because if he did, it would definitely make Xiren and the others even more worried. Thinking back, he had also fallen from the top of the divine altar, and then climbed back to the peak. This kind of feeling was not so unbearable for him. At this time, Shangguan Yingying could not help but see two pieces of paper on the ground by the door. She immediately picked up the paper and said, "This should be the note that Sweet Dream left for us. Could it be that the healing medicine has been sold out? We stayed in the ocean world for quite a long time this time, so it's only natural that the healing medicine has been sold out." Debachin took the note from Shangguan Yingying's hand and opened it to take a look. However, after reading it, Debachin could not help but frown, because there were only 3 words written on the note: "There's trouble." He picked up the other note and opened it to take a look. There were 6 words written on the note. "There's trouble, contact me quickly." It seems that there's trouble again. Debachin's eyes were deep and cold, and his voice was slightly cold. Hearing Debachin's words, when Xiren and Shangguan Yingying could not help but be startled, and a hint of surprise appeared on their faces. Trouble? We're already living here, what trouble could there be? Shangguan Yingying did not understand. When Xiren's eyebrows slightly raised, his face full of thought, could it be that Lu Mingxiu is looking for trouble again? From the beginning to the end, they had only offended one person in the demon training tower, and that was Lu Mingxiu. Other than him, they could not think of anyone else. It's possible. Debachin nodded. Last time, Lu Mingxiu lost face again, so it's normal that he doesn't want to let it go. Then what should we do now? Shangguan Yingying revealed a troubled expression. Hongzhuang is currently breaking through. Why don't we contact Sweet Dream and ask? Debachin and Xiren looked at each other and nodded at the same time. Let's go and understand the situation first. I'm sure Sweet Dream is very anxious right now. Debachin went to look for Sweet Dream. When Sweet Dream saw Debachin and the others, she was pleasantly surprised. However, when she didn't see Bailey Hongzhuang, a hint of disappointment appeared in her eyes. Tianmeng, what happened these days? Debachin took the lead to ask. Sweet Dream looked around and said, "If you don't mind, I'll go to your place to talk." Seeing this, Debachin and the other 2 nodded. Okay. After entering the room, Debachin said, "Can you tell me now? What happened? Why isn't second young Master D here?" Seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang was not in the room, Sweet Dream could not help but ask. She's currently breaking through, so she can't come out to understand the situation for now. Once she's done, we'll inform her. After saying this, when Xiren and Shangguan Yingying looked at each other, it seemed that their guess was right. Sweet Dream liked Bailey Hongzhuang, otherwise, she wouldn't pay so much attention to Bailey Hongzhuang's situation. Hearing this, Sweet Dream finally relaxed, but her expression also became a bit unsightly. This matter is indeed a bit troublesome. Did Lu Mingxiu come looking for trouble again? Xiren asked. Chapter 3103. Hearing this, Debachin and the other 2 couldn't help but feel even more confused. They didn't know what other enemy they had besides Lu Mingxiu. It's like this. Sweet Dream slowly explained what had happened. It turned out that ever since Bailey Hongzhuang's healing medicine began to be sold, the other medicine refiners and doctors in the magic training tower were affected. In the first few days, the medicine refiners and doctors only thought that it was a novelty. After all, every time a new item came out of the magic training tower, it would cause a wave of excitement. Thus, they didn't take it to heart. They only wanted to wait for this wave of excitement to pass before everything returned to normal. However, the situation was completely different from what they thought. Although Bailey Hongzhuang's healing medicine wasn't as popular as before, there was an endless stream of cultivators who wanted to buy it. In addition, Bailey Hongzhuang had given Sweet Dream a sufficient supply, so Sweet Dream didn't think about this. In a short period of time, Bailey Hongzhuang's healing medicine became a monopoly in the magic training tower. Almost all the cultivators came to buy this healing medicine. Only a very small number of people would buy other healing pills or medicine. This scene clearly exceeded everyone's expectations. In the magic training tower, the medicine that sold the most and consumed the most was healing medicine. Thus, almost all the medicine refiners and doctors couldn't give up on this area. Once Bailey Hongzhuang's healing medicine was released, it affected the profits of the other medicine refiners and doctors. Thus, everyone couldn't help but protest. If it was a normal problem, it wouldn't be a problem for Sweet Dream to deal with. However, these medicine refiners and doctors weren't people that she could easily offend. With the other side pressuring her like this, Sweet Dream couldn't do anything. Thus, she could only quickly notify Bailey Hongzhuang. Recently, these medicine refiners and doctors have been causing more and more trouble. They're asking young Master D to either stop selling this healing medicine or get the hell out of the magic training tower. Sweet Dream furrowed her brows, her pretty face filled with embarrassment. You don't know how difficult it is to deal with these arrogant fellows. Besides, these people usually have a lot of charisma. I really don't know what to do. After hearing all this, Shang Guanningying's expression turned ugly. These guys clearly don't have the ability to fight against Di Bei. They actually shamelessly found such an excuse to protest. Don't they feel embarrassed? Di Bei-chun and Wen Ziren were also speechless. They didn't know that the medicine they sold would have such a huge impact on the alchemists and doctors of the magic training tower. Fortunately, Hongzhuang had only sold one type of healing medicine. If Hongzhuang had sold more things, then wouldn't all the alchemists and doctors in the Devil Training Tower have nothing to eat? I also know that this matter is their fault, but once they join forces, they will be a very powerful force. Sweet Dream was very helpless. Normally, they had to be careful not to offend just one alchemist or doctor, let alone now that so many people had joined together to protest. She had no way of doing anything. You're tuning into the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.